So this Saturday, our friends at Challengers Comics are hosting a signing with the one, the only, the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. So they're doing a signing, and it's from 1 to 2 p.m., and their address, in case you don't want to Google it, we'll just...
Because I didn't say it last week.
The address is 1845 Northwestern. It's right off of the Western Blue Line stop. Obviously, this is in Chicago. If you want to travel to Chicago for this, great. But, you know, if you live in Chicago, that's how you get to it. You can find out more information at challengerscomics.com. They're great. Honestly, Challengers is a great store. They're friends of ours. They're doing this signing with Jimmy Hart, which is, like, really cool for them. And, like, go buy comics.
Buy all your comics there. You want the new WWE comics? You want to subscribe? The Women's Evolution run was really good. And the next run of that comic is Sammy and Kevin.
Perfect.
You skip the Shield stuff. Stay for the Women's Evolution and Sammy and Kevin.
Absolutely. So you can find these comics at Challenger Comics, and then obviously if you're there from 1 to 2, you can meet Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. Really stumbled on that one.
All right, enjoy this episode.
Thanks, guys.
It's very long. We don't get drunk, unfortunately.
I mean, you can pretend that we're drunk.
Hi, I'm stunning Stella Cheeks.
And I'm the Enigma Erin Cline.
And this is Not Your Demographic, a feminist wrestling podcast.
Shockingly, those exist. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Good, really good. Exhausted, but in like a good way. We just came off this very long wrestling weekend.
Yes.
But my dad was also in town. I bought these tickets for Money in the Bank and Takeover for him for Christmas and his birthday, which is also in December, a long time ago, obviously. But then it just happened to fall on Father's Day.
Right?
I haven't seen my dad in a couple of years because he lives in Colorado Springs, and we spent a ton of time together and was really great. You know, sometimes when you spend time with your parents, it's like after like a day, you're like, I gotta go.
Mm-hmm.
This is nuts. But I just think I haven't seen him in such a long time. It was really great. It was like one of the best like family visits.
Awesome.
It was awesome. It was
Very cool.
It was really good.
Mm-hmm. I enjoyed his frosted tips that he got.
Oh
That was
my
nice.
God. Yes, he came in and was like, I want to get my hair done. I want to go shopping. We were supposed to get tattoos, but it didn't like work out time-wise. But yeah, he went to my hairstylist, who is wonderful. She's going to do my hair for the wedding, but she's also my friend, my stylist. She does burlesque. Like, she's somebody that I know. And I was like, my dad wants these gray frosted tips. Okay. And she was like, we can do this.
They looked really good. It looked
And he got his like nose waxed. I don't know. That was
and was like, I'm going out with my daughter. I'm doing it top to bottom.
Oh, it was really cute. Like, he was really nervous about embarrassing me, and I was like,
Aww.
I'm not embarrassed by you, Dad. Like when we went to the NXT show, like, we're in this huge group, and my dad sat on the end because my dad's a vet and is also really tall, and it's just like having extra space is good. So I requested that we sat on the end. So he didn't really get to interact with anybody. Like, he met Dave and like waved to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It was really fun. Like, we did wrestling. We did this like mini makeover for him. I took him to Freelance Wrestling Show.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and he had a really good time. They didn't have his size in like the Freelance shirt, but like I bought him one, so I'm gonna send him that. So it's like shirt from Freelance. Yeah, anytime he tried to buy wrestling merch, like the NXT TakeOver Chicago shirt was out, the Freelance shirt was out, this like AJ Styles shirt that he wanted was out, and I was like, it's fine. Most of that stuff we can get online.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just pretend you bought it IRL. But he brought me. It was so cute. He was like, well, if you want to get a shirt, and I was like, Dad, first of all, the shirts they have are trash. I don't want them. And second of all, I have so many, even though I did buy a Carney shirt at Freelance.
The Carneys are awesome.
A, the Carneys are awesome. B, the shirt is cool. It's like got hands and says like, we're the ones they stopped praying for. And they hand tie-dyed it themselves, which is the most
dope.
Carney thing ever.
Yeah, it is.
I was like, yes. Also, fucking Nikki Iggy is smart, and he takes Venmo. I literally was like, you're the first wrestler that I've seen do this, and I don't understand. As somebody who can do Venmo and you can get Square Reader, like, you're a fucking genius. I know somebody as a burlesque dancer in Chicago that when she walks around for tips, people are like, I don't have cash. She goes, that's fine. I have my card reader right here. Like,
nice.
She gets, which is amazing, right?
Nice.
Or people, I know people who wear like their Venmo on like their shirt afterwards, and it's like, you can Venmo me.
Oh,
you know,
smart.
the hustle is real. But I'm also like always flabbergasted when these people
I know.
who rely a lot on their merch sales don't have these Square readers or Venmo. It's insane. And I was like, Nikki, Iggy, even if I hated this shirt, I would buy it from you on principle. But again, I loved it.
Mm-hmm. I know Colt Cabana has a Square reader because he's told me that before when I've been like,
that's right.
Like, I would like to buy your merch, but I literally don't have cash. And he's like, oh, I have this. Like, why don't you have that out all the time? Like, just have it out. Just have it available.
They prefer cash. You can always say that, like, we prefer cash, but like, some places don't even have fucking ATMs.
Yeah, exactly. It just seems very weird to me that people aren't more... I understand that there's a charge to that, but isn't the, like...
It's not that... As somebody who runs a burlesque company that interacts with Square, it's not that big of a charge.
Yeah, I feel like 25 cents for a transaction is...
Not even that.
Yeah, is not worth the not getting the $19.75 that someone would pay for a shirt. It just seems so weird to me.
I honestly, if I remember correctly, it's not even 25 cents. Like,
yeah, I mean, that's usually the cap for that kind of service too, to take like a quarter away from it. It's just ridiculous. Like, get yourself a fucking Square reader. Anyways,
we had a really good time at Freelance. It was insanely long. We left before the main event. I was like, A, I'm tired.
Yeah. B,
we're by these like drunk, what did you call them online? The monogs? I'm monogamous, but I was like, these are the people she's talking about.
Yes, the monogs.
These dumb. I was like, they've never been to a wrestling show before, which is fine. Like, I'm not a gatekeeper. My dad's never been to like an indie wrestling. I love bringing people to indie wrestling shows. They were just too much for me. They had matching pinky rings.
No.
They literally tried to stand in front of me when there was tons of room because they wanted to be near their friends. 2 of these people in this group did. And I was like, really, dude? There's a ton of room there. I am standing here. It's not capacity right now. There's no reason for you to stand in front of me. Move over. And they like did a double take. I was like, move. And my dad was like, damn, Lexus. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And then I told Nick and he was like, I need you to stop this at these shows. I need you to
fights and shit.
I need you to stop getting into fights with strangers at shows. And I was like, it wasn't a fight and they were being rude.
They were wrong, first of all.
They were wrong.
I refuse to take things back.
I did bite my tongue at Money in the Bank, so Nick can be happy. There was a guy in the audience that yelled at this girl for cheering Roman, and I wanted literally wanted to turn around and be like, I don't care about your shitty Mark opinions. This woman paid money and is having a good time and is allowed to cheer this. She may be the only one cheering this person in the whole fucking stadium.
Building, yeah.
So like, she's wearing a Roman Reigns shirt. She's having a good time. Like, how fucking dare you? And he was wearing a New Day shirt, and I was like, how dare?
Right? You do not understand the principles of New Day.
Power of positivity, bitch.
Asshole.
Yeah. Anyways, I had a really good time with my dad, and yeah, it was just really fun. We did all of the wrestling. I'm exhausted. He left this morning. Whatever.
That's wrestle weekend. Time to get exhausted.
Plus wrestle weekend. I did have to, he kept being like, why are you on your phone? I was like, I am literally doing my job right now.
Yeah.
I was like, I know it doesn't make sense to you. I am still talking to you. I'm like battling against service in the fucking Allstate Arena.
It's awful.
I'm trying to do this live tweet and do these Instagram posts and watch. Like, it is hard.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm doing a good job, like maintaining everything. And I need you to not criticize me.
I love that anytime someone questions you about being on your phone, you're like, I am doing my job. Leave me alone.
I was like, I mean, I would have been doing this anyways, but now I can be like high and mighty about it.
I'm being paid for this.
Let me tweet, bitch. How are you?
I'm doing great. I only have to work 2 days this week because we're going to this wedding this weekend, which will be fun. I'm excited about that. Yesterday was my birthday.
Ugh.
I know. The worst. All of my family kept calling me because they were like, hey, it's a big ass birthday. It's your 30th birthday. And I was like, yeah, I forgot. I'm not really doing a lot. I did go see.
Well, what would you have done anyways? It was Money in the Bank weekend and this weekend's Emily's birthday.
Exactly.
Like,
I think that's why I forgot, because I was like, I have too much shit.
NXT and Money in the Bank, like, that was fun.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It was like a great wedding. Was a great birthday gift on Saturday from you and Dave and Warwick and Ben.
That's all Dave. I was like, oh, sure.
You forgot my birthday existed.
Yeah, I think I did.
So that was nice. And then on Sunday, I went with my friend Sarah, who she bought me a ticket for my birthday too. So it was like, oh, this like whole weekend is kind of like my birthday celebration, which was nice. But yesterday I had the day off. Not because I requested it, but because I didn't have any work to do. And so my boss was like, yeah, you don't need to come in. And I was like, I'm not going to tell you it's my birthday. I'm just going to say thank you and not come in. So I got very lucky that I don't have to work 2 days this week. My paycheck will take the hit for it, but I don't care. I'm happy to not be there. But I was going to go to the beach yesterday, but it was awful. It was so awful outside.
Yeah.
Like, there was a 22-degree difference from the day before, which felt like someone had punched me in the sinuses, which sucked. But I went and saw Hereditary, the new...
Fuck, no. Get out of here. Go home. You know what?
Woo!
Here, I will tell you. So
good.
my new thing, I know everything that happens because I don't know if I've told you this, but my new thing is reading the plots of scary movies.
Because I know that you do not go see this movie.
No.
Just seriously, don't.
I saw the trailer and I was like, nope.
Fucking good. I've heard people say it's the scariest horror movie they've ever seen. I would not say that it's the scariest movie I've ever seen.
What's the scariest movie you've ever seen?
That's a good question. It's terrible, but it's a John Cusack movie of a Stephen King novel. It's called like 14/3 or some bullshit. It's about a haunted hotel room. That is straight up the scariest movie I've ever fucking seen. There's a bunch of terrifying scenes of people like all of a sudden they're hanging off a building, or there's a demon chasing them through like an aqueduct, basically. It's some of the scariest shit I've ever seen in my life. I've never watched it again. It scared. I saw it in theaters and was like, I'm gonna die. It's fucking terrifying. Annabelle, also extremely frightening. That was very good. But Hereditary was great. Toni Collette, like, she could be nominated for an Oscar for this movie. It was so
She won't be, because they don't, like, respect horror films.
This one they might, because she made a statement before this movie came out where she was like, I said I would never do another horror film after The Sixth Sense because it was so good. I didn't want to, like, get stuck in that genre.
Right.
Sixth Sense is fucking great because it's so well acted. That Hereditary, seriously, is maybe one of the best acted movies I've ever seen. It was fucking incredible.
It would have to be from, like, again, I know everything that happens. I did read the plot synopsis. Because I saw the trailer and I was like, I'm terrified from this trailer, but I am endlessly curious now. Like, I really want to know what happened.
Like, the real story,
I've been waiting for months for the plot synopsis.
I would say, too, the most terrifying thing about the movie was that everything was real. Like, a lot of scary movies, it's like, oh, there's this suspense and maybe this is real and maybe no, all of it is happening. Everything is happening in real time. And like the core story is about grief and about what it's like to lose your mother when your mother's a piece of shit and treats you like crap. And then you've become your mother. And then she has another blow later that is grief related that is also very difficult. But there's the scene where she's reacting to this second wave of grief and she's keening and it's, it was fucking, it goes on for like 30 seconds, which you don't think is a long time, but when someone is wailing from the depths of their soul, like, ooh, yikes. And like, there's a scene where they're having dinner and the dad, like, there's like a family, it's about grief.
The dad, played by Gabriel Byrne, one of my favorite actors.
He was fucking incredible. He did such a great job. So there's a scene where like they have this argument at dinner as a family and Toni Collette's character as the mother, like, gets up and storms out. And they have this long shot where it's just the table on like a half of the screen and then like the emptiness of the house on the other half. And so you get this like really stunning visual of them, of this really grieving family, like sitting at this table together. And he tries to eat again and like finally just puts his fork and knife down and just puts his head in his hands. And it's so powerful. It seems like such a small moment, but it's so well acted. Like, it takes a real horror movie turn at the end, but like, I mean, it's a horror movie. You kind of have to expect that.
If you were an actor, you would do really good in horror films because you have like big eyes and big.
I'm very expressive.
And you have that big, scary mouth.
Terrifying scream.
I've heard you do that. Just like a creepy smile from you, I would be like, I'm done.
The only movie I've ever done was a horror movie, and I was someone who got murdered, so it's an appropriate.
No, you would need to be like the bad guy.
Oh, I'd be a great bad guy, but I'm also a very expressive murder victim.
Excellent.
So yeah, that's what I did for my birthday. I got really high and watched wrestling. Other than that, so perfect birthday basically. What wrestling merch are you wearing?
I really went through it this morning and I was like, what? I saw so much wrestling. I was like, well, I'll wear my Carney shirt. But then I was like, well, not everybody knows who they are. And this was a really big weekend. And I was like, I'm not going to wear my Alexa Bliss shirt. Do I wear my Sammy shirt? Like, there's some people I would wear a shirt for, but I don't have that merch. Mm-hmm. So I decided, because I couldn't fucking decide anything, that I was just going to wear my Wrestling is Forever shirt.
That's a compromise.
It's very comfortable, but it also is all encompassing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lucha premiered last week. This is Matt Cross's shirt, but then I watched so much wrestling this week. I felt like it was appropriate. I was overwhelmed with options.
Mm-hmm. I put on a shirt this morning because it was comfortable, my Chikara shirt, which I'm definitely wearing in the car tomorrow. Spoiler, because it's fucking comfortable. But I put on this morning and was like, oh, I should probably choose like an actually appropriate shirt because we had this big weekend. but then couldn't think of anybody. Then I was like, oh, I should definitely wear this person's shirt. And so I wound up wearing Hideo Itami because literally any excuse to wear this shirt on the podcast.
Well, also, there is a good reason to wear it.
Exactly. That's why I was like, finally. Finally, my boy gets time to do something. Finally.
Well, let's just mix it up. Let's talk about 205 Live first.
All right, let's do it.
Pre-news, pre-everything.
All right, fuck it. Yeah, let's get it out of the way. 205 Live, awesome this week.
It's always awesome.
I mean, it's always awesome, but, like, it was really good.
So the two things that were not the main event, there was a match between Drew Gulak and Lindsay Dorado, which was a really good match.
Yes, absolutely.
And they also let Lindsay Dorado talk in a promo for, like, once.
And he's good. He's very good.
He did a really good job.
I was I feel like a lot of people were expecting him to have, like, a thick Mexican accent. He's from Chicago. He can...
No. Lindsay is? I know Kalisto is.
I'm almost positive that
But he's from, like, somewhere.
Yeah, he can fucking talk. It's fine. He's always been able to talk. Yeah, it was nice to, like, see him go and be like, oh yeah, you can do this. Why don't they let you fucking do this? I like their promos because they are kind of they're like a chaotic positive force, like, Sanity is, like, just chaos, but Lucha House Party is in its own way, like, fun house party chaos, which I like a lot. And I love Penelope. I need a Penelope. That would have truly made my birthday complete.
I saw Penelope. Obviously, she was there last week, but now she has a name and is a character, a la Francesca. And I was like, well, we need a Penelope shirt.
Yeah, we do.
We need Penelope merchandise. We need replicas.
Hell yeah.
I need a Penelope.
I would buy a Penelope replica.
We would all buy a Penelope.
Not even going to kid myself. I would totally do that.
Well, they did a good job because it definitely seemed like Lindsay was going to win. But then Brian Kendrick got involved and, like, put Drew's foot on the rope and stuff. And that was good heel work, but not aggressive. But then because Brian Kendrick got involved, Drew won. But so now Drew is clean, like, swept.
Clean swooped.
I'm rephrasing. We're in the business of making up phrases now.
Yeah, absolutely.
He clean swooped Lucha House Party.
Fantastic.
So next week they're going to have a 3-on-3 elimination match.
Cool.
Which I think will be great. I like elimination Survivor Series type shit.
Yeah,
so I think that would be great. Then TJP had another good shitty little boy from Christmas.
Yep. Had a really, really good promo. I actually really enjoyed it. I've been surprised by how much I've enjoyed TJP.
Halbert? Yeah.
I loved the detail that he asked him this question and then hit him in the face with the mic. Really good work. Really, really good attention to detail. I really liked that.
Palbert is a hilarious.
Oh, that's a hilarious thing to call a person. Truly, I enjoy TJP the most now when he's doing promos and not wrestling, which, like,
yeah,
he's not
He's
great,
a good wrestler.
He's fine, yeah. Like,
no, he is a good wrestler.
I think that I feel like, oh, well, yeah, you're fine because he says he's the best technical wrestler.
Right.
And I'm like, bitch, we all know that's not true. Like, just stop.
Bitch, we all know
we just watched Drew Gulak wrestle. Who do you think you are?
But then the main event was a number one contender match, three-way, Buddy Murphy, the Juggernaut.
203 pounds. Wink!
204.99. Whatever.
That man weighs more than Dean Ambrose. There's no way he fucking weighs 203 pounds.
Buddy Murphy, Mustafa Ali, and Hideo Itami.
Yes. It was awesome. It was a really well-structured three-person match.
Yeah.
It didn't feel at any point like the WWE syndrome is that one person gets a Roman nap, two people fight in the ring. One of those people gets a Roman nap, the third person comes in, and they just, like, cycle that way. And there was definitely space for two people to work together, but it never felt like, oh, Hideo's taking a nap. Oh, Buddy's taking a nap right now. It actually felt like everyone was very involved. And also that standing Spanish fly off the announce table was amazing. I knew immediately that as soon as he, like, ran and, like, casually hopped up, I was like, oh fuck, it's coming. And it looked great.
It looked great.
I also saw a still from both of them upside down.
Yeah, I put it on the Instagram today too. It's super cool.
It's a cool photo, and also you can see how Mustafa Ali is protecting Buddy Murphy's neck, which, like, as a super weird mark about safety, I really enjoyed. It's nice to see wrestlers, like, we know how to take these dangerous bumps and be good to each other and protect each other. Like, I really like that. I think it's, especially with someone like Buddy who's a lot bigger than them, the fact that they can still protect him is awesome.
I really enjoyed Hideo's work with Drake Maverick in the promo before that.
Oh, yes.
Because Hideo was just, like, shitty, rolling his eyes, like, you'll respect me, but Drake Maverick did a good job.
It was
like,
great to
not
see
a beat miss, like, such a good GM.
And it's clearly established, like, listen, buddy, I'm your goddamn boss, and you're gonna fucking respect that, or I will not respect you, and I don't give a fuck. Like, it was nice to see that, because no one else seems to really do that. Like, when people respond to the you will respect me thing, a lot of it's just like, whatever, lur. I like the Drake.
He literally was like, respect is a two-way street.
Yeah, absolutely, and I really like that it, like, he felt like an authoritative figure who absolutely deserved to, like, be in charge of the division. And it also gave Hideo, like, oh yeah, you gotta fucking prove yourself, which he did. And, like, it felt like a really good narrative connection.
In a legal but vicious way, too. And yes. I like that they showed the scene with Drake and the ref so that he could establish there is gonna be no countouts, nothing. Like, there needs to be a winner, so that when Hideo took the pad off the turnbuckle and did something, like, pretty illegal to win with a drop kick to Mustafa, like, it was legal.
Yeah, absolutely.
He had every right to win, and he did win.
Absolutely.
Also, Cedric versus Hideo sounds amazing.
Oh, it's gonna be awesome. I'm really excited about it. Also, like, if Hideo took the title from Cedric, I wouldn't be mad about it. Like, I personally love Hideo, but also it feels like they've built a story that works for that.
Here's my problem right now. I wouldn't be mad with him winning, but I think 205 Live is an excellent show, and if you're not watching it and you have, like, grumbles about it, like, you're a dick, because it's a good show. They do need to figure out what they're doing with the championship, because now that it seems like the Cruiserweight Championship is not gonna be on pay-per-views, not even on the pre-show, it feels irrelevant and stupid. Yeah. It feels absolutely stupid to have that belt. I haven't seen Cedric in fucking weeks, I feel like.
I mean, to be fair, I agree with you, but also I feel the same way about the UK Championship. Why does this fucking belt exist?
Yeah, but they're working on that. Like, they have the whole tournament. They're doing UK NXT.
But they're doing the same thing that they're doing for 205 Live, where it's gonna be a contained brand with a belt. And so, like, again, I agree with what you're saying, but I feel like if 205 Live wasn't part of the main roster and was just on the network, this would all feel fine. It wouldn't feel weird at all. It's only because it's specifically left off of all these pay-per-views.
Yeah, but also even with the UK NXT, it's still an NXT show. Like,
but up until now, it hasn't been anything. It's just been
but it's been on takeovers before.
Yeah, but it's not part of that brand, or it wasn't until now.
But I'm just saying that it seems as if they're going into the direction where it is possible that is defended on takeovers, or is more a part of their pay-per-view brand, I guess, whereas 205 Live really feels like it's in limbo, and they need to figure it out, because nobody who doesn't already care is going to learn to care if you don't make the belt seem like it's worth caring about.
Right, exactly.
Because there's so many opportunities to just watch good wrestling that's not enough of a draw, I don't think.
Yeah, I can see that. Part of the issue, too, is that they're moving to Fridays for SmackDown. Like, are they gonna...
Not until, I think the rumors are October of next year.
Yeah, but even then, like, 205 Live, like, there's no way. That's not going to continue to be on Friday nights. Like, there's just no fucking way that they're going to do that. Like, I just can't see that. That feels like the time where that officially moves to the network and becomes, like, a network staple. Which, again, probably the right move for that show, because there's not enough draw for it. Which sucks, because it's great.
TBD.
We'll see. And, I mean, who the fuck knows if they're going to get tag titles? Maybe that's part of, like, the long-term plan if it becomes an independent brand.
Who knows?
They're starting to integrate the UK brand more into NXT in a way that they just don't do with 205 Live. And, like, they need to find a way to either make it a completely self-contained brand that's important on its own, or they need to start reintegrating it into the pay-per-views. Because, right, it is weird that it wasn't, like, even on the pre-show at all.
It's
especially
because
they're combined pay-per-views now. Like, they're technically part of the Raw brand, wink, sort of.
They can't be anymore, right? They haven't been on Raw in forever.
Forever, yeah. But they record after SmackDown. Like, if you go to a live show, that's part of that experience. But again, they don't, like, advertise it like that. It's all very bizarre.
It's very bizarre. News. There's so much news.
Oh, yeah.
I would say this one's the least irrelevant now, but it was still really fun. The New Day versus the Elite video game thing. It was like from a week ago, but it was really fun. And Kenny Omega won.
I know.
And also
still ate a pepper anyway, because he's a fucking psycho.
He was like, I'm better at video games than you. I'm better at wrestling than you. I'm better at eating than you. Is literally what he said. New Day versus the Elite is just the best. They're all very good wrestlers. That's their thing, right? But they're also really silly, and they work really well. The New Day was on an episode of Being the Elite. That is incredible.
It is incredible. Like, truly, that is incredible. That
it really
WWE was like, yeah, cool. Do whatever you want.
They're like meh.
Oh, this actually does bring us money, we should let you do this. Like, yeah, doofuses, you should have been, this feud has been building for 3.5 years.
Yeah, and it also used to involve the Hardys before they ruined the Broken Universe.
Oh, yeah.
I'm saying it. I'm pulling the plug. It's ruined.
Yeah, it's so bizarre.
Jeff Hardy might be Brother Nero, but he might just be like Willow.
Yeah, it was
2.5.
I think you're just Willow. I don't understand. You're like speaking like Brother Nero, but you look like Willow. I know.
Well, it doesn't totally look like Willow.
Cool.
Like that's how he's painted his face before, but in the context, I don't know. It just seems like a new reincarnation. It doesn't even seem like something he's done in the past. It seems absolutely new.
I mean, whatever. Jeff Hardy can do whatever the fuck he wants at this point. I did not watch their 24
I heard it was really good.
I heard it was very good too. And I like too that WWE's being
like
open about struggle. I think it's really smart.
Should be. I mean, a lot of their wrestlers, even some of them on the roster now, like struggle.
And I think it's good that Matt can be like, you can talk to me about this because I fucking lived through it. Like, I like that. I think it's smart. And I like that Rebby afterwards was like, yeah, it sucked to be married to him when this was going on. But we made it, and we got through the other
Jeff's
side.
wife, too.
Yeah, like, we did a lot of fucking work.
AJ Styles is on the cover of 2K19.
Good for him. He deserves it. He's worked his ass off for the
last
last 2
those
years.
games are so hard.
I know.
My dad bought me one, and I've literally never played it. I just stare at it. I put it in the Xbox, and I'm like,
Yeah, Michael bought me 2K16 when it came out, and
This
I've
is
tried a
hard.
couple times, and he was like, oh, okay, I'll play, and I'll figure out the mechanics, and I'll teach you. And he played a couple times and was like, don't try. You're gonna hate this. It's hard.
It sucks.
You're gonna be bad at it.
You have to be like a super nerd.
Yeah. Devin's very good at them because he's been playing them for like 10 years. And even he's
I
like,
feel
these
like
are hard.
You need to like learn in a time machine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sami Zayn is injured. Poor little bean.
He is? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Apparently he was working an injury pre the Lashley thing, and that's part of the reason why there was not a lot of physical encounters, and there was a lot of weird talking segments, and why he didn't show a lot of offense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it was just like, well, we want to use Sammy, but he needs to be out soon, so we'll use him to push Lashley. LOL.
Effective. Wink.
Wink.
It's disappointing. Do we know what's injured or how long he'll be out?
When I last looked, I don't know either of those, but I think he's going to be out a not insignificant amount of time.
Ugh, poor Sammy.
At least he's a heel. I feel like it's easier to go out a heel
Yeah.
and come back a heel, or come back a face. I feel like it's harder to go out on top of your like babyface game.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm. No, I totally know what you mean. Oh, that's sad. At least he'll be getting paid for being left off of things. That's nice.
ROH lost their Madison Square Garden contract.
They already?
That's
How
the
the
like.
fuck did that happen?
That's the like rumor that WWE was like, no, thank you, and Madison Square Garden was like, whoop.
I just like white guy blinked at that. I'm so surprised.
That's the rumor. It's not confirmed. Last time I checked, because I wrote this news a while ago.
I mean, does make sense. It was very weird that Ring of Honor booked that show. Like, it's very strange that Madison Square Garden would not have been like,
Sure.
yeah, like, oh, hey, we just exclusively run this company, this wrestling company for the last
billion years.
Yeah, exactly. But like, cool. I mean, this is straight up all in
territory shit.
Yep, this is all repercussions from All In. And you know what? Even if they lost that contract, good fucking news that they got it booked in the first place at all.
Yeah.
Like, it's all territory shit coming back, and like, it delights me to no end. Like, this is the most exciting thing about all of these like weird wrestling company territory disputes. Like, it is changing. It is absolutely changing, and it is changing quickly and like right in front of us about how much the indies are a viable scene. Even as WWE continues to pillage them, like, it almost makes them stronger because people are like, oh, the indies. Oh, the indies exist. Oh, these people are all from the indies. What are the indies?
What are the indies?
That's what I did. That's exactly what I did. It was like, who the fuck are Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa? Yeah. I need to find out. And then I saw them in AEW for a year and cried my eyes out when they retired. I was like, oh,
not retired.
Oh, I get it. Well, indie retired.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to do little spoilers for the UK tapings.
This is your warning.
Mustache Mountain.
Yes.
New Tech Champs.
I love it. I love that they switched it over to them. I think it's smart to commit to non-NXT people.
You got like alert from your phone if you like are in the network and have your alerts on. I don't know, like, it's not showing until later this week. Like, why did they spoil it themselves?
Yeah, it's weird that they spoiled it, and also that they're pretending that it's a live stream. Like, they're not saying like this is recorded
it's
and
fake.
We're not playing it on Monday. It's streaming on
Monday.
Also,
and I also don't understand. Fuck? Like, I don't understand why they're doing it's premiering in midday in the US.
Yeah.
We know this was recorded, bros.
Exactly. It feels like they're
Why
really
don't you just put it at 8 p.m.?
Yeah, they're like trying to backdoor it. Like,
Or just-
this is a real live streaming thing from this other continent. Like, no,
Even though
you
we
just
already-
told us that it's not.
Yeah.
You literally sent out a push notification that I wonder if the idea is like, if people know that these belts are changing, that they're more likely to it's very bizarre.
It's super dumb.
I mean, I like the choice that they made. I think it's awesome.
And I'm very excited to see that match,
Yeah.
especially after the TakeOver tag match and knowing that Mustache Mountain are incredible wrestlers. Like, I'm really excited to see that match.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just bizarre how they're doing it.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like with these specials, they make bizarre choices, like how they had the Mae Young Classic come out at 9 a.m. randomly on like Monday.
Yeah.
That was dumb.
Yeah, they're really dumb about their streaming choice. It's like they forget that the internet exists. They use the internet to push these shows and then forget that it exists.
Yes.
Like, hi, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. Other news. Vader died today.
I learned a fact about Vader today.
Yes.
Stella's old-timey wrestling coming in hot. I always thought it was Big Bad Vader. Did not know it was Big Van Vader. That's so weird name. I mean, I'm sorry.
It makes sense why you think that. I totally get it.
Right?
It's just funny.
Died at 63.
After 2 really intense hospital visits, too. It's not, like, surprising that he
Right.
passed. Beat the shit out of his body for decades. It makes sense.
I also learned that he was on an episode of Boy Meets World.
I was just gonna say that. That was my other fun Vader fact, is that he was in a crossover episode of Boy Meets World. He plays the father of one of the, like, bullied hick children. He was very good on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad that he died, but, like, there is a wave of, like, wrestlers that are that age that have either died or are gonna die soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Gonna get another wave, for sure.
The big one, I guess, Big Cass got released.
Yeah, he did. Fucking... First of all, to get released between a pay-per-view and live television, that's some shit. That's some fucking shit. You must have done some shit. Like, there's a lot that's come out since the firing of, like, speculation about things that happened, but, like, man, something must have finally just tipped the scales that someone was like, this is not fucking worth it.
And it wasn't in, like, a wave of releases. Like, when Emma got released, she had just worked a pay-per-view from with Asuka, and then she got released in the wave of releases. It was still shocking that she was released, but they gave reasoning between the, like, Twitter and blah, 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 blah. They wanted to make an example out of her, this, that, and the other thing. But at least it was at a time that they were doing releases. This was, see you later, bye.
Yeah, not even future endeavored. Just a sentence. Just a sentence of, we have come to terms on the release of William Morrissey Big Cass. Period. End of statement. Like, ooh, bitch. Oh, no. Oh, you fucked up. You fucked up bad. There are a lot of rumors that the reason one of the alleged reasons he got released is because he was drinking very heavily and that he was an asshole when he was drunk. I've heard some people be like, well, it's fucked up that he got fired because Vince McMahon says he's ruining the image of the company, which, like, fair. Vince does make really weird, arbitrary decisions about who is and is not promoting the image of his company. But also, like, he's worthless. He's been a worthless wrestler. His promos have not gotten better. He clearly can't make it without Enzo.
There was also that whole thing where he did the spot with the little person, and apparently Vince was like, I told you not to do that.
Yeah, which... Like,
I don't know how you get an actor...
I don't either! How the fuck do you do that without permission?
Yeah, that's
insane.
not like going out and just talking in a promo. Like, you had to get a little person costume to look like Daniel Bryan. You had somebody had to hit the music. You had to get a contract so he could, not contract, but like a working day of contract so that person could get paid. I don't understand how you work around Vince.
Yeah, I feel like they must have set all this shit up and then day of TV, Vince was like, no, don't do this. And Cass was like, I'm doing it anyway. But again, imagine the balls to be like, I'm doing it anyway.
Well, it's that whole thing. It's like you have to grab the brass ring and when it works, it's always in their favor. Like, they pushed back and they really stood up for themselves and what they thought was right, or like where they thought their character should go, this, that, and the other thing. But the flip side of that is you pissed a lot of people off because you didn't listen.
Yeah, exactly. And like, apparently
It's probably why nobody grabs for that brass ring.
Yeah, seriously.
Like, I don't know, that brass ring is terrifying.
Yeah, absolutely. You take a serious risk in doing it. I think that's part of why Vince likes it when people do it sometimes, because it's like, oh, I could fire you, and you know that, and you're doing it anyway. There's also a story that he got drunk on the bus one day, and locked
Ripped the door off.
locked himself in the bathroom, thought he was being ribbed, and so then he knocked the door out, and then everyone on the bus had to piss with the door open for the rest of the ride. Like, if I was the other people on that bus, I'd be pissed too. Like, that sucks.
Also, if you think about it, that's something that if somebody else did that, but didn't already have a reputation for being annoying or being like drunk or being somebody that you don't want to ride on a bus with, then you would have been like, I'm annoyed, but I get it. If you thought...
You think you're being ribbed, but again, why are you drunk on a bus in the middle of the day?
Right. Oh, regardless of the
not that
thing,
I haven't done that, but I'm not at my job when I'm doing that.
Maybe, I don't know. It's terrible, but the first thing I thought is just like Carmella like laugh.
That's what I thought too. Like, bye, bitch.
I have a championship and you two losers are gone.
Yes. It is nice.
Not that she ever even who even knows, she could have not even had a real friendship with Enzo, but she like fully dated and bought a house with Cass.
Yeah, well, I've heard rumors that the reason she was part of that group in the first place is because she and Enzo were dating at the time. And
weird.
And then she was like, never mind, I'm into Big Cass, which is like, okay, lesser of these two evils in the end, I guess. Also, they got released almost exactly 6 months apart. To go from being the hottest fucking thing on WWE, basically, and NXT for years, and then in 6 months, both of you were released, like, yo.
They got big heads and thought they were hot shit. Like, that's not...
Nope. You didn't come back from your ACL determined or fucking whatever and kick as much ass as possible, and you were not a great talker before, and your partner got fired in the time you were out. What are you thinking? I understand your partner gets fired, you're no longer friends with your best friend, your fiance and you break up. That sucks. I totally understand being upset and getting drunk about that stuff. But again, not at your job. Like, don't do it at your job, especially if your job is in a tenuous place because you've been injured and are not doing great. Like, it's just very bizarre. But we no longer need to see bi ass ever again.
Yeah, I feel bad, but I don't feel bad.
I don't feel bad. Like,
I just feel bad, like, being like, haha, that person lost their job and their livelihood.
I think it would be very different if he wasn't already known to be kind of a dick.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge part
and isn't he like a pro-Trump douche?
Yes. Absolutely. That's the other thing, like, sorry about it. Do you feel bad when other people get fired? No, you're a huge cunt about it? Sorry. Don't feel bad when you get fired then. Like, I just don't.
All right. Did you watch Total Bellas?
I didn't. I'm so torn. Like, this season is upsetting.
This episode would have upset you, I think.
Yeah, like, I keep watching these trailers and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try. It makes me really upset, and I don't know. I have a feeling what might happen is I might try to watch a couple episodes at the same time and just binge through it so I can, like, feel nice and sad. But also, So You Think You Can Dance is back, so I'm crying all the time anyway. I don't need to be crying about breakups. I got dance to cry about.
I used to be really into So You Think You Can Dance, and I'm just not anymore.
I'm fucking obsessed with it. They've changed the format a lot. They're in their 15th season, and so it's...
Yeah, I think I tried to watch it in the new format. I didn't enjoy it, so I was like, this is a thing I can cut out of my life.
Yeah, they've changed the format.
It is emotional.
Again this year, and I've enjoyed it as opposed to the way they've been doing it the last couple seasons. I like the auditions for So You Think You Can Dance because they've really figured out the format is show people who are excellent and then do a montage of people who weren't great. So you're not laughing at people.
At children.
Yeah, but also adults who, like, clearly care a lot about this, and I like that the panel of auditioning judges give constructive feedback to everyone. Yeah. It's not just like, you suck, get the fuck out of here. It's like, who choreographed this? How did you make these decisions? I think your basics just aren't strong enough. They're, like, really, really good about their criticism, which I appreciate a lot when they show those, but mostly you just get to see these people do these amazing things who probably will be eliminated later, but you get to, like, experience this beautiful dance. There's this adorable...
Are we really talking about
yes,
So You Think You Can Dance right now?
There's an adorable 18-year-old who was one of the best tappers I've ever seen in my fucking life. And he was like, I'm gay, and dance lets me express it because I live in a town where people will kill me if I'm gay. And it's like, so I tap instead. It's like, I can't watch this and then watch Nikki and John break up their wedding? Like, I can't.
Way to bring it back around, Erin.
Ugh. I told you, that's why I can't watch it. I'm too emotional about dance.
This is how I'll sum it up. There was a montage I wrote, skateboards, moving, having it all. I'll have babies for you. Eek.
Didn't John admit that he had a vasectomy?
Okay, yes. So, opens, I don't want to gloss over
the Why do we know so much about his balls? I'm just, come on.
I don't want to gloss over the skateboarding bit because it was really funny because Mama Bella was going through it. She was like, I can't handle my husband who's old and my kids who one has like a baby and one of them has like a severe neck thing on these skateboards. I'm freaking out. It was a good Mama Bella moment.
Nice.
Daniel and Brie were moving to their new house, and then Nikki had Brie. Nikki got a nanny so she could work out for a couple hours, and Brie was like mad, but also was like, why don't I get a nanny? I don't understand. And Brian was like, yeah, maybe you should. Like, Birdie is amazing. We should focus on her, but also remember our relationship. And then later in the episode, Nikki was like, how many times have you had sex with Daniel since Birdie? And Brie was like, I can count it on my hands.
I mean, I get it.
I get it too. But it was also like, she was like, I'm so exhausted because of Birdie and the Bella Radici and this, that, and I just don't know. And Nikki was like, I got a nanny. It's my personal assistant's sister. You know her. Like, I worked out and then it was fine.
Yeah.
And Brie was like, I want to be mad, but also, and I thought Daniel would get pissy and be like, pull his Daniel nonsense. And Daniel was like, yeah, we should probably get a nanny.
I mean, they're fucking traveling people.
Yeah.
It makes total sense that they need a goddamn nanny.
Get a nanny.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll be your nanny.
Who do they leave their baby with when they're both traveling? Where does it go?
It might come with them and just be backstage.
That's possible. I could totally
I bet
see
you
that.
that's what happens.
Yeah, I could see that.
And
still
then
get a nanny.
Still get a nanny. And then Nikki went to dinner with John and they were going through, and he essentially was like, the only reason we're broken up is because you want children. And she was like, yeah, I just want to be a mom. And he was like, there's no other like underlying thing. She was like, no, not at all. And he was like, okay, like that's fine. And she was like, but you have the thing. And he was like, yeah, I'll just have it reversed. And she was like, you could do that for me. And everyone was like, wait, John has a vasectomy. Whoa. I mean, that makes sense. It totally makes sense. This man has not wanted kids for forever.
Mm-hmm.
But we
it
all
also
were like
gives us the context too that Nikki knew that and has clearly known that. And
right.
it's like a part of her decision of you've already made the decision that you'll never want kids. And to be fair to John, getting a vasectomy reversed when you did not get a reversible vasectomy is not easy.
Well, it might have been one. Like
you think John Cena got a reversible vasectomy?
Well, whatever.
That bitch for sure had that tied thinking it was gonna be the end.
Well, whatever. But the weirdest part is that she was like, you would have kids for me? And he was like, I don't remember the exact phrasing, but she said something like that. And then his response was akin to, I will do anything to not lose you, which is kind of sweet, but it's also fucked up to be like, I will do this thing that I have sworn that I never wanted to do because I love you, is kind of like, are you going to like this kid? No, what she said, you want to have kids with me. And he said, I want you, which is a weird response.
I mean,
that would be a huge red flag for me.
Here's the deal. I did the same thing. I said I was never going to have kids. I would have gotten my tubes tied, and except I met Michael and got an IUD instead of getting my tubes tied. I meant it. I was never going to have kids. And I'm only going to have children because it's very important to Michael to be a father. And I love him, and his love has made me want to have a child. So I get it. Ugh. I totally understand that, like, no, it's antithetical to who I am as a person. But I found this person who makes me different. And that's changed who I am.
But it just didn't seem like the way that you're phrasing that makes it seem like, oh, I've changed for that. The way that he phrased it does not seem like that.
But that's what I said. It was Michael and I had a conversation where we sat down and it was like, here's the deal. Like, we either have to decide we're going to have kids at some point or we have to break up. And almost did because I didn't want to have kids. And so I totally understand how his first jump is, I just don't want to lose you. Like, that makes a lot of sense to me. But I agree that it's like, oh, it's a hard pill to swallow.
It's weird to me.
Michael and I also had a long discussion of like, what happens if we have kids and I don't like that kid? What do we do then? And
murder.
Like, well, we were like, all right, well, we'll come up with a plan and we'll get a divorce and you can have full custody. Like, agreeing to those things beforehand is also smart. Like, that's a conversation they should have too. If John's like, I hate this child, I never want to be around it. And Nikki's like, well, I got what I want. Bye. I can also see that happening. And like, that's not bad for her. She still ultimately gets what she wants.
Except for she doesn't, because as you pointed out, they have another wedding to call off. They showed a whole montage because it's mid-season that was like, I don't know, maybe I thought it was the kid, but maybe it's something else. I think we need to call it off again.
I'm glad that I got hip to this at the beginning of this season so I didn't have to be freshly heartbroken twice. Like,
also, the timing of everything, like the Today Show stuff was in response to the second wedding getting cut off.
Yeah.
But they put it in this episode as if it was the one for the first. The timeline jumped from January to May to like to like March.
What the
I was
fuck?
like, this is some sneaky editing, E-channel.
Yeah.
I know what's going on with you.
Yeah.
Sneaky
what
sneaks.
the hell? Ugh. This is season 2 of Total Bellas? Or is
Yes.
This? Okay. Because I've heard that it's going to continue into season 3 and we'll get to see the second wedding breakup. If they've already used the footage from the second breakup in the first breakup, what the fuck are they going to do?
Bitch, I don't know.
What a goddamn nightmare. See, this is why it's so hard to tell what's real and what's not. It's because this goddamn editing team is like, all of it, it's all true. Everything fits together. Don't worry about the timeline. Everything's fine.
Time to enter the temple. Bwam, temple noise reverberating. This episode's already gonna be fucking long, and I'm just making silly noises. Lucha Underground started with a backstage segment with Katrina magicking into a chair.
Thing looks like glittery human skin.
It for sure does.
It might be.
Also in Cuerno's like
totally possible
hunting temple.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
For sure.
It may be designed to look like human skin.
The most dangerous game.
Oh.
She was looking for the gauntlet, and he was like, I'm not no
Bitch,
dummy.
you think I leave this out? I know you can magic.
He was like, I gave it to somebody else. I don't know where the fuck it is. Now get the fuck out of my place.
Right.
Essentially. She was like, my life force. And he was like, what in any interaction we've ever had?
Makes you think I give a fuck.
And she was like, bye, bitch.
Fine. I'll magic out with my beautiful hair and my awesome leotard.
My butt. My great ass butt. The first match was the Mac, Killshot, and Son of Havoc defending their trios championship. We still don't know what the hell happened to Dante Fox.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's like a good backstage side story or something.
And it does feel like he's involved, because if he wasn't, they would just pretend he doesn't exist at all. And the fact that they've like mentioned that he's missing, I feel like is important.
So Famous B comes out and he's introducing their opponents with Brenda. Arriba!
Arriba!
Brenda's the best.
She's so enthusiastic. I appreciate her energy.
Also, IRL, she saves cats and kittens. So
Good for her.
she's great.
She's great.
We're a fan. Her real name is Holly. She goes by Holly Meowie because she rescues cats. We're a fan of Brenda.
Yes, we are. We've been a fan of Brenda since day one, I will say.
Famous B introduces his new clients. Big Bad Steve, whatever.
Don't know who that is.
Sammy Guevara.
Don't know who that is either.
There was a pop. People liked him. I don't know who that is.
Is he AAA? Are these people
Probably.
AAA? I don't know.
And the Savage, Jake Strong. Strong. It's just Jack Swagger.
Yeah. I mean, I want to rag on Jack Swagger, but we did discuss Jake Strong is a better name.
Oh, it for sure is.
It's a way better name. And I like his glittery unitard. I will say I prefer
And
that.
the temple popped for him. I just don't understand why. So you get this, you leave WWE, you get this rebrand, and then you can't I mean, we only saw him once, but he did the bomb and the ankle lock. And I was like, but that, you're not going to rebrand anymore? It's just, it's just a name change?
Just your name. That's a classic WWE release thing. A lot of people do that where it's like, oh, well, they won't know. It's like Brie thinking like, they won't know me if they can't see my stomach. It's like, they won't know me if I don't do this ankle lock and like a form of the We the People by hitting himself and saying strong over and over.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Oh, yeah, immediately. I was like, that's why he's doing this, is because it looks like the We the People thing, for sure.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it's for real not a rebrand, like in any way, other than that his name is different. And again, better.
Oh, better. So they have a trios match. It's fine. It's what you think of. There was some good notable moments from the Mac where the Mac, Jack Swagger had Killshot, I think, in an ankle lock. Mm-hmm. And the Mac slapped him twice in the face really hard. And then I was like, I'm just going to kick your dumb face. Mm-hmm, and I kicked him in the face really hard, which is how they lost the match, the Famous B team. Mm-hmm. And then Jake Strong just went apeshit on the whole Famous B team, beat the hell out of them. He was like, I don't need you hoes. And then
he's clearly not wrong.
He broke Famous B's ankle with the ankle lock.
And I like that part of the...
Yeah.
It's like a ratcheting
savage.
up. Yeah,
it's savage. You get
and
it?
he wiped his face with his silk pocket square. Disrespectful.
Brenda was into Jake.
She was upset that he left the trio. She was like, oh, girl, come back, but wait.
But I just want to cuddle. He does have that thing where you're like, you look like you would be good at cuddling. Not sex, but cuddling.
Ugh. It makes no.
He looks like a teddy bear.
I don't think you're wrong, but the idea of having to just cuddle with someone, I'm like, oh, get the fuck out of here.
You're only good for a cuddle? Get the fuck out of my way, Monogs.
I am not the one. I am not yours. I am not that.
That's so funny. I'm interested to see where he goes, but I also can't wait to watch Famous B hobble around in crutches.
Absolutely. Perfect. He needs something.
When he had the sling,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
that's perfect.
Mm-hmm. He needs his body to have been fucked up by a wrestler at some point each season. I require.
Antonio Cueto comes out and addresses the temple and is like, hey, my son totes sucked, but he did have one good idea. The Gift of the Gods Championship is dope. We's gonna still be doing that. Mm-hmm. We's gonna be doing it right now.
All right now.
All right now.
I did briefly think that he was going to say his one good idea was the Wheel of Doom because we were literally discussing it.
We love
right
the Wheel of
beforehand.
Doom. Some people hate it though, so I would not be surprised if it didn't come back. It was so corny and over the top, and it worked for Dario. But
for Dario, it worked, yeah. So I can see why Antonio would be like, nah.
No, I'm serious. Look at my eyeball.
Other thing that you noticed too, that his cane has a bowl on it, which is like a nice detail that is
family traits.
Yeah, absolutely. We get very little knowledge of who's inside of each of these descendancies of the 8 tribes of the gods, and so it's nice to see, like,
7?
Is it 7? It might be 7.
Actually, 7.
Yeah, because it's 3 and then the one in the middle.
Yeah.
7. So I like that we get this, like, additional nod of, like, oh yeah, he is part of this tribe. His dad is the one who was part of this tribe.
His dad is the one that made the decision for Montanza to house the god.
Right. Mm-hmm. So I like it. It's like just a nice little. I mean, Lucha's great about details, and it's just another really good detail.
So they started the process of the Gift of the Gods tonight. The first match in the series is Drago with Cobra versus Dragon Azteca. This is a pretty basic match.
Fine.
I mean, they're both really good wrestlers, and the finisher was good. Mm-hmm. Azteca did like a bomb to Drago off the turnbuckle. It was really good, but it was just like I really like Drago, and I do like Dragon Azteca, but they're not my favorite characters, and they're not people that I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, like.
And this is clearly building to a Taya versus Cobra thing. Like,
right.
I get it. I get what they're doing here.
Because at the end, Dragon Azteca walked away with the medallion, and while Cobra was trying to wake Drago up and see if he was okay, Taya and Johnny snuck in, and Johnny distracted Cobra, and Taya speared the shit out of her. Mm-hmm. And then they kissed in the ring because you don't mess with the Mundos.
And they do look genuinely in love. Like
they're the best.
That was a nice moment to be like, oh, you guys really do like each other. Like, oh, that's so nice. I like that a lot. Especially after, like, Taya's been around for a minute. This is her 3rd season as Lucha Underground, and we only got 1 episode of
Melina.
I keep wanting to call her Melania. I know that's not her name.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious.
But, like, I don't care for Melina. I didn't think Melina.
Damn
it.
Oh my god. I feel like you're not supposed to care for her.
Well, yes, but I mean, like, as a person who IRL was with him for a long time, like, she seemed like a terrible partner.
Well, she was like bananas.
Yeah, and was a dick to him, and like
bananas.
Did shitty things like post his Cialis prescription online. Like, that's fucked up. You shouldn't do that. And like, no shame to anyone who uses Cialis, especially if you're a young man and you're like, I want my dick to stand up for 8 hours. Like, yeah, get yourself a Cialis prescription. It totally makes sense. And so that she would shame him about that. No wonder he was like, yo, this girl over here is real cool and is like totally down to get dick for 8 hours.
The best butt.
Yes. Really.
Nick
really
came in.
butt.
Ty had a good week on Lucha and on Impact because Nick came in when I was watching Impact and he goes, who's that? And I was like, right?
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Also a great wrestler, but like we can appreciate this juicy booty.
Absolutely. 100%. I love that she's built like Charlotte is, where she looks like an Amazon. Like, you are a muscular, powerful fucking lady.
But like has a better butt than Charlotte for sure.
Charlotte has no butt. It is not hard to have a better butt than Charlotte. Let's get real.
But she's going to be in the ESPN body issue. That's something.
Yeah,
that's
like
really
that.
cool. I'm really
like
excited for that.
Mm-hmm. I will probably buy
She
a copy
being
of it.
Charlotte.
If Taya was in the body issue,
meow, meow.
bye, bitches. That's the only one who matters.
There was a segment with Katrina popping up in Antonio's office, and he was like, "Oh, I heard you could do this. I did not."
I thought it was a lie, basically.
It's like Phantasma, like a freaky ghost. And she, freaky ghost.
Also, I like that he asked, "Are you some kind of El Fantasma?" Which is, I mean, that's King Cuerno's real name in AAA's Fantismo. So it was like a nice,
Son of the Ghost.
You were just in his house doing your ghost thing, and now here you are. Like, it was just a nice, like, referential thing I enjoyed.
She was like, I want Phoenix dead. And he was like, Ma, you want me to kill Phoenix for you?
I like how that was his first reaction.
He was like, I will.
Yeah, not even like I'm definitely not going to do that in like do you want me to kill him way? Because like, we could maybe work something out.
She was like, no, I want a grave consequences match. I'll just have Mill kill him.
Yeah,
like,
Mill can do it.
Then I'll have my life force back. And he was like,
I like that she glitched. There was that nice moment at the beginning.
I think she's like, not losing it, but like, the woman who has her like other medallion, her mom or sister or bestie, I don't remember.
Really unclear.
It's her mom. It was her mom.
It's her mom. Mm-hmm.
Was like, you got to get your shit together, else I have this fucking thing and I'm gonna fuck with you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, she a police. That's what the police
She a
do.
police. The police fuck with everyone. I love that Antonio was like, if I give you Phoenix and you have your life force, will you be knocking in the future? She was like, yes. I was like, cool.
I like how that's his line. Dario would have been like, oh, well, I love violence, so yeah, I want to see people dead. And Antonio's like, can I get a knock, please? That's all I want.
I love that when she magicked away, though, he was clearly shook a little bit.
I like that no one seems to be able to shake the Cuetos, including Dario when he was alive or whatever the fuck he is, wherever he is. We have some theories, but...
Except for her and the guy in the limo.
Oh, that's true. That's right. That guy did shake Dario, but would it shooketh him? But would he shooketh Antonio? I don't know that he would, because he seems to be in cahoots with this person of some or God or whatever the fuck he is. Still very unclear. So I like that Katrina is like a universal force of shooketh. Like, this bitch shows up and shakes everybody because hello, she can magic. Like, yeah, you should be.
Especially
shook.
if you're like dealing with like. Especially if you're doing CD deals and stuff, you don't want somebody who can literally just be like, poof, hey.
Sup, I saw everything.
Bye. The main event was Penta versus Matanza. Mm-hmm. Pentagon won, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
We're talking like, I love Matanza and I obviously love Jeff Cobb, King of the Peen.
King of the Peen.
But even, it just feels like he's lost an edge. A little bit.
I would agree with that, though I will say I thought that moment at the end of Antonio like beating the crap out of him basically
coming out while Penta was about to break his arm, showing him the key, Matanza getting like a will of strength, like, oh no, my key.
Don't
pushing
break my fucking arm.
Penta off so Penta doesn't break his arm. And then Antonio being like, your brother made you soft. Your brother made you weak. And Matanza being afraid of his dad.
Yeah,
which was really important.
It was very effective to see Matanza scared of someone, because he was never scared of Dario.
They were like
a team, basically.
Yeah, he clearly loved Dario in like, you're my protector, you're my brother.
Well, they were protective of each other, which made them like a cohesive unit, whereas Antonio is like, I'm your fucking dad and you're gonna do what I goddamn tell you to do.
Which is also interesting considering the fact that Matanza like murdered his mom.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's afraid of his dad.
I'm really curious if they address Antonio's relationship with his dead wife. Like, I would be really interested to learn more about that. Did he abandon Dario and Matanza, and that's why they were with this terrible mom who got murdered? How old were they when their mom was murdered? Did they go live with their scary-ass dad after this? Like, I have a lot of questions.
Scary-ass dad. Oh, he said Dario spoiled you. Mm-hmm. Not he made you weak, he spoiled you, which is interesting.
It's essentially the same thing,
but I don't know, spoiled is...
it has a lot of connotations to it.
Yes, for sure. Mm-hmm. And then the final bit is Antonio, I keep wanting to say Dario, was pacing around in his office, like clearly upset. And there's a knock at the door. He's like, about time, come in. And Jeremiah
He said it's a bad time. That's why Jeremiah said, I'll be short.
Oh, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I also thought at first that he said it's about time, but as soon as Sammy responded that way, I was like,
Jeremiah.
It's a bad, whatever, biblical reference, bird name. I don't care.
He basically comes in as like, I want in that grave consequences match because I want to take out Mill and Phoenix, and then Katrina will take me back, and
Katrina
everything will be
love
great.
Me again.
and Antonio said, you're willing to put your life on the line for a woman.
Which is a great line. Like, bitch, what?
And then Jeremiah said, yeah, have you seen her? To which Antonio replied, that's a good point. So he goes, all right, 3-way to the grave. Whatever, bros.
Let's do it. Which I'm curious about how the makeup of that match looks. Does that mean both other people have to go into a coffin, or is only one person going into a coffin?
How many people?
That's what Jeremiah Crane said on the way out. I told you I'd keep it short. And Antonio's response was, yeah, like your career is gonna be. Like, oh, damn, bitch. Okay.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see who's gonna win, how they're gonna do it.
Are there 2 coffins on either side of the ring? Like,
There are
that's
a million coffins. How many people carrying coffins? What will Katrina be wearing?
I need to know what Katrina will be wearing. I want to see Katrina's reaction to Biblical Birdman being in this match now, too. Like, if he wins, is she gonna just, does she still get her life force back? Or what's the deal here? Like, I have a lot of questions.
The drama.
It's soap opera.
It wasn't as wrestling exciting and like pops and stuff as last week, but I tune in for Lucha because I like wrestling, but I tune in for the backstage pre-recorded segments, like,
sure.
and this one had a lot of them, so that was fun.
Yeah, this was very narrative heavy, which for the second episode of the season seems like a smart choice.
Agreed. I am assuming you didn't watch Impact.
Of course not.
You stupid bitch. Oh, such a
I didn't watch Total
bitch.
Divas. You think I prioritized?
It's Total Bella's first stamp out.
I didn't watch Total Sad Disillusion of a Relationship. Okay.
The first segment is Grado's coming out and he's doing his dance with his girl. And he's like, yeah, Grado's here. And then Eddie Edwards comes out and just beats the shit out of Grado.
Oh, is he taking him to the woods to kill
And
him
is
too?
just standing in the ring, screaming, yelling for Tommy Dreamer. And is like, you stupid bitch, you ruined my life. Come out here. And then he beats up Tommy Dreamer. And it's like, I'm Eddie Edwards. Ah! And then the next segment is
Time to die.
Is Tommy Dreamer going backstage to one of the people who's in charge and going, I don't even work here. I showed up to help you fools and to help Eddie, and I'm getting hit in the face with shit, and like, I do not even work here.
How dare?
How dare? Which I thought was like a fun moment.
I love that.
Eddie is out of control.
You have said many times you don't know old-timing being 80s wrestling.
Old-timey being like basically all wrestling.
Basically before 2004. You just like don't know who any of these people are.
No,
but like
for a while.
There's a big part of the WCW, ECW bullshit that I didn't watch because it wasn't interesting and I'm not that demographic, obviously. And I have really grown to love
Tommy Dreamer. Me
over
too.
like the last couple years, even just the last 6 months. Like I like him a lot.
The hustle, bro.
The hustle, and also like everyone seems to like him.
And it seems like he is a wrestle dad.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really like that. I like that his place within this community seems to be like an important one and not just a like nostalgia EC dub bro. It's like, no, he's the wrestle dad. He really does feel that way.
EC dub bro.
That's how many people feel about fucking ECW is. Bruh, everything was better when it was the EC dub. Like, no, it wasn't. Have you ever rewatched it? It's garbage.
It's all garbage. All wrestling.
Garbage.
Most wrestling 6 months out is garbage.
Absolutely.
There are some standout matches that are like feuds, but like overall, most wrestling is trash.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. I took a lift yesterday. Deb and I were coming back from Hereditary to go get high, and we were just like chatting up a storm, just like blah blah blah, Money in the Bank, this blah blah blah, all of these things that WWE is going. How do we feel about this company? And the guy who was driving us, like 15 minutes on this ride, turns around and goes, "Are they still doing that shit with Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar?" And we were like, "Oh, bro, what?" He was like, "I haven't watched Raw in like 10 months. I got really bored with it." And we were like, "Oh, we can get you up on everything." And then we went back to talking, and we got to our destination, and he turned around and he went, "Guys, I've been watching WWE since 1993, and I've never heard someone have such an in-depth conversation about wrestling. This was a pleasure." And we were like, "Thanks, bro!
Easy
Yeah! Easy dub, bro!"
That's hilarious. So the next match at Impact was a tie-up match. Rebel is back. Do you remember Rebel? She was part of the menagerie. You probably don't remember her at all.
That name sounds really familiar. What does she look like?
She's skinny and has dark hair and does the splits on the rope.
Oh, okay. I do know who you're talking about. Yeah.
She's back, and Josh had to explain the menagerie. He was like, so they were like circus folks, and their circus broke down, so then they joined wrestling. I was like, I feel like you could have brought Rebel back without telling everybody about the menagerie. I feel like we could have done that, Josh.
I mean, is she still playing like the same character?
No.
Oh, okay. That's really dumb.
She does. Her name is Rebel still, and she does the splits on the ring ropes, but like, why did we need to talk about the menagerie?
Weird. That's very bizarre.
None of it. It's so stupid.
None of the people watching now care.
Nobody cares about the menagerie. Rebel, as a wrestler, has always been bad. She's been bad.
Yeah.
She did do a better job in this match. I don't know if it's because she's been training or Taya's just like easier to wrestle with, but she did look at least competent, which was good. I mean, obviously she was there to get her ass kicked by Taya. Like, that's why she showed up. They did, you know how WWE does the segments where like there are people like backstage with their arms crossed watching the TV and like shaking their head? They did one with that with Sue, but she just had the belt and was just like dripping blood. Oh. It was like, okay.
Oh my.
I'm into this. Especially in this like weird Taya Rebel match. You're just like watching and like,
I'm crazy. Like,
I'm crazy. Taya's so great. She picked up Rebel into the doing her Road to Valhalla, her finisher. She goes, welcome back, chick, and just slammed her into the Road to Valhalla. It was so good.
Yes.
So she won, obviously. She grabbed a mic and then called out Madison Rayne because I said, you know, last week they did the video package about why she's back. She called out Madison Rayne and was like, so you're back. Let's all give Madison Rayne a round of applause. Yay. Yeah. Good for you. This is my kingdom. I'm here to be like, I'm gonna beat your ass. Yeah, this is my kingdom. I'm gonna beat your ass. See you next week.
Cool. Awesome. Fantastic.
I think that's going to be a really interesting matchup is Taya versus Madison.
Yeah, and that, like you're saying too, like if Taya's the kind of person who can elevate someone who, like Madison is better than Rebel, clearly.
Oh, for sure. Madison is a good wrestler. She's just not my cup of tea. She's boring.
Yeah, exactly. I find her boring. And I think...
And she's married to Josh Matthews, which is like unforgivable.
You clearly have bad judgment.
Pretty sure they have children together, which is like unforgivable.
You mixed your DNA with that person? At least it's not Pulp.
I know she has children. I'm not 100% sure if there is, because I don't know. Well, not in like a shady way. I just like, you know, you never know. Not that it's...
No. They were together this whole time and she was like, I showed up with these kids. Don't worry that one of them is Asian. Who cares?
I don't know about their family. I just know she's a mom because her fucking Twitter bio is like, mommy first, Christian second, wrestler third, or whatever.
I have to retrieve my eyes. They've rolled away.
There was a fucking throwback match with AJ, Joe, and Christopher Daniels.
Who cares?
Whatever. I do like bringing them up because I think it's hilarious, but I also...
Oh, was it that three-way match from
No,
years
it's
ago?
not the real good one.
Man. Why wouldn't you show the really good one?
Because that was from like a pay-per-view. I don't know.
Who cares?
I don't know how they
own all that footage.
Bitch, I don't know how they do these terrible throwaway matches.
Question. Do you think that...
Throwback matches.
Throwaway. You're correct. You were right the first time.
It's clearly the end of their tapings.
Yeah.
So they're like filling a lot of time.
Do you think that the Hardys own their footage from TNA now? Because they showed some of it in that propaganda
They
piece.
Must. Or they must have co-parental ownership.
I wonder if maybe that was part of
the deal.
The settlement of, we gave you a shitload of money. We're not asking for anything back. We want the rights to the Broken Universe. And also, we're taking our footage with us. Like, I can totally see them negotiating that. They have great lawyers, and they have the
WWE's lawyers.
Yeah, exactly. So I could see how something like that would happen. But I was noticing a lot of people were saying that they were showing, like, they showed the Sting and Jeff Hardy match when he was all fucked up. Like, they clearly have something that either they've worked out a deal that TNA was like, sure, whatever, show this on the network, give us a shitload of money, or the Hardys just own their shit.
That might be good for them because the TNA has their own network, the Global Wrestling Network, where they have a lot of the old shit. So if you're watching this Hardy documentary and you see all these clips from Impact and you're like, oh, I want to go watch that full match, where are you going to find it? You go to this network. I mean, there are easier ways to find it, but I'm just saying they might think of it as like a free advertisement almost.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
There's a backstage interview with Matt Sydal where he was talking about Cage because Cage is the number one contender to the X Division Championship. Hilarious. And Sydal said, have you seen him? He's an effing machine. He's a giant. He's huge. But I saw him inside. I used my third eye. I saw the inside. He's weak. Oh, for God's That's what we're going with. He can see your weakness with his third eyeball.
Okay.
OVE had a video and they were like, bet you weren't expecting to see us on TV this week. Sammy's one eye, the one where Eddie drove the like stick into his eye, was gnarly. I couldn't tell if they were trying to say that like he doesn't have an eye there, but it was like pussy and like shut. Ew. And like it wasn't that pussy, but like a little bit. And it was fucking gross.
Gross.
But I like that they had that continuity.
There's like that follow-up, yeah.
Sammy said to the effect of, we're done with Eddie because he's going to lose everything. We ruined his life. We don't have to fight him anymore, which It's just like
Fair.
Ciampa and Gargano. It's like we pushed you so far that you are destroying your own life now.
Yeah, exactly.
Now Eddie is, yelling at Alicia in the woods and beating up Tommy in the middle of the ring. They don't need to fuck with him anymore, which is smart because they pushed Sammy and Eddie as far as I think that they could.
What can you do past, I'm gonna kill you in the woods? Like,
Time to die.
Yeah. Okay, Sammy. Time to die.
KM and Falaba had a match against the Cult of Lee. The reason I want to bring this up is because the crowd is hype for Falaba. There were signs. There was a sign like hashtag fat kids rule the world. Like, it was, the crowd is all chanting, bah, bah, and like hitting themselves in the head. They love him.
Right. Okay.
In this match, Ba accidentally took out KM because his eyes were raked by Trevor, or the other guy, I don't know. But, so they lost because KM was pinned by one of the Cult of Lee boys. But they didn't break up yet, Fala and KM.
Okay.
Because KM is lame.
Fair.
And the only reason he's doing anything on Impact is because everybody loves Falaba.
Fair.
Falaba forever. Ba, ba, ba. LAX was in their cool clubhouse next week, so tomorrow they have a tag title shot. You know what that means? More money, more strippers. Very fun. Diamante, though, not buying it. There was a really great moment where they like all had a tequila shot or whiskey shot or something, and they did the shots, and the boys were like, oh, it's hard. And she just looked at them and went, lightweights, and walked away. It was amazing.
Perfect.
It was amazing. They left, all three of them, and Eddie Kingston was there, or King, sorry, and he sat in Conan's chair and then put his feet up and said, the world is mine. So obviously Eddie Kingston like took out Conan.
Yeah, he had to have.
So Diamante is totes right.
So is this
The other guys are like, more money, more strippers, and Diamante's like, this shady hoe.
So are Diamante and King gonna have a match? Do you
I
think?
don't know. Impact does
They do
intergender.
intergender stuff, yeah. So I feel like that's a cool way.
That
for
would
them
be
to
dope.
build
I didn't
that,
even
yeah.
think about that.
Yeah,
I would be into that. I really like Diamante.
Literally, just from hearing your recaps, it feels like that's a missed opportunity if they don't take it there.
So they had a number one contendership match to see who was going to face Austin Aries at Slammiversary. But it was a pre-filmed one from House of Hardcore. So you had to watch like the weird match between Moose and Eli, which already was not going to be that good, which is weird because they're both good wrestlers. They just, to me, don't have good chemistry together.
Yeah.
So it was a weird match for number one contendership for the main title filmed at House of Hardcore, which is cool for the House of Hardcore audience, but weird for us.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
That's weird.
I don't mind when they show those matches because I think it's interesting and I think it's a way to bring other wrestling in, but I did mind that they did that with the number one contender for the main title.
Yeah.
That was dumb.
That's bizarre.
Tessa and Kira had a dope ass match.
I saw some of the clips from it online and was like, this is amazing. I clearly need to watch this.
Kira just pulled her ass out of the ring. They just beat the shit out of each other. Man, there was Ranas off the ring, power slams on the ramp, big elbows. Like, I love when Tessa does that thing when her opponent's on the ropes and she runs and does the elbow and then runs and does like the kick to the back. Like, I think working the back is always like scary, but also really effective because you can get a lot of momentum and be like, wow, like the thing that Natty does.
Yes.
I love that.
I love that move. It's
I really
so cool.
Off the ladder. I mean,
Looks so good.
It was so
I
good.
also thought Naomi did a great job of like, oh fuck, I'm not on this ladder completely. And it was like,
Well,
I'm gonna set myself up,
Naomi-
it's fine.
Forever.
I mean, yes.
There was chairs. Tessa put her hands on the ref, like push him down. I don't know why she didn't get disqualified. Kira sold and fought like this was not a squash match or anything. It was a back and fucking forth.
Fucking love Kira.
Bulldog into a steel chair. But then Tessa set up the chair in the corner and then smashes Kira's face into it. Like, you know, Tessa won. But Kira put up a boss ass fight.
Cool.
It was a good ass match.
Very good. I'm so hyped for her. I've been hyped for her for so long. I'm so glad that she's doing well.
Yeah. Jake Chris versus Phantasma. I don't know. The big thing about this, who cares about this match? The big thing, Jake Chris won, and then OVE started beating down Phantasma, and then Pentagon came out, and they're setting up for Penta versus Sammy, which is interesting because Penta shouldn't be in the title picture at Impact. It just doesn't work. It didn't mesh. Now that Austin has it again, it's Moose and Eli and like all of them. That works. That's the main title picture for Impact. Like that makes sense. Pentagon in Impact is unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, he's just more of attraction. He's like, he is a cool extra thing. Like he at Lucha, it makes sense that he has a title, but it doesn't work for Impact.
He also doesn't speak great English.
Right.
That's a huge part of it. And And to his credit, over especially the last 2 years, has really improved.
Right.
Like, when we used to see him at AEW versus Sami Callihan, which is very weird now.
But we
they're
know
doing this
that
on TV.
they, regardless of your feelings about Sammy, they put on really good matches.
Absolutely, that's what I was gonna say,
to bring that to Impact is smart.
Yeah, and it's like, I was going to say, it's interesting that we know that they have good chemistry because we've seen them fight a bunch in person at AEW, but after those matches, he would always just rip these promos in Spanish.
Dubs, bro.
Dub, bro. But he would like rip these promos in Spanish, which none of us in person could understand.
Great. You could understand.
Yeah, you could
them by,
feel
the
that
passion.
energy, but that just doesn't translate to TV, and especially it translates to WWE in a way that they allow it to with like CN, where you can kind of figure it out,
or Asuka,
or Nakamura before he got more like of a grasp of speaking on TV without his fucking mouth guard. But it with Penta, it's different. This is clearly a person who's only learning English because he's working with people who speak English a lot, and you just learn differently, and you're not gonna be able to cut a promo in the same way in English like that. It's just not possible. So I understand why they're like, maybe we should just make him into an attraction. Maybe he doesn't need the belt in this company. Like, I get it, even though it feels a little weird.
But I think it's gonna work.
Yeah,
because you get Sammy out of the Eddie feud,
yes,
and you get Penta out of the main picture,
and we know that they'll kick
and they're good
ass.
at wrestling each other. The final match was Brian Cage versus Matt Sydal for the X Division title. Matt got some offense in because he's fast and flippy, but like Cage is
third eye or whatever,
strong and also fast and flippy.
Yeah.
So Cage was like really taking it to him, but then Jimmy Jacobs and Congo Kong came out, and Congo Kong fucked Cage's shit up, and then Matt won because Cage got counted out. So Matt's still the X Division champ. And walked away with, like, Jimmy and Congo, so it kind of seemed like they were together. I don't know about that, but, like, that's how they ended.
Interesting, okay.
He, like, walked to them and, like, put his hand on Jimmy, so who knows?
Okay.
But so now Cage is out of the X Division title and is clearly going to go after Congo Kong.
Yeah, he's gotta.
Right?
Didn't you say you found out he was, like, 39 years old recently?
Congo Kong? Yeah.
Weird.
Not super old, but he's, like, older than he looks.
For a wrestler, that's pretty old.
For a wrestler that's just getting onto TV.
Yeah, for sure.
Final bit. So there's a backstage segment where Petey is standing over a bottle. Petey is standing over a body holding an X, and Sanjay sees him and is like, I fucking knew it was you. I knew it was you. Police, police, police. And Petey's like, no, I just found this guy. It's not me, Sanjay. You know me. It's not me. It's not me. You know, I have a family. And Sanjay's like, get the fuck out of here. I knew it was you. Obviously, he's not swearing as much. But so Petey's getting arrested by this dude, and Petey's like, yeah, like Sanjay, you know it's not me. And Sanjay's like, I don't care, and walks away. And then this dude looks up and just starts beating the shit out of Petey, and then looks to the camera and goes, you should probably call the cops. And then dropped an X onto Petey. So it wasn't Petey. Swerve. I got swerved.
Oh, you did get swerved.
I totally bought into it. So the guy, his name is Killer Cross.
Oh, I know that name, but
right.
I don't know why.
I think he is an indie guy.
Okay.
I don't remember what circuit he worked, but the people who were into him were like, oh, yeah.
Okay.
Can't wait till you guys see him. He's scary. He's a scary looking dude.
All right, cool.
So that's interesting. So we finally know who the X is, and it's not Suicide, which I'm glad. They swerved us pretty hard on a bunch of fronts, and they did a good job in this storytelling.
Nice.
Peter's like, I have a family, you know me. You should probably call the cops. That was so good. He looked straight into the camera, and I was like, oh shit.
Nice.
Oh shit, this guy?
Nice.
Who's this guy? Quick Google, this guy. That's how that was. So, NXT.
Okay.
So much to talk about. I know we want to talk about TakeOver, but I wanted to bring up something that happened on the episode before. Two things that happened. The EC3 versus Cash Zono match was really good. It was really fun. Obviously, it was only the best match I've ever seen, but they have good chemistry. And when EC3 won and was doing his whole thing and they panned to Ono, boy, he looked sad. Mm-hmm. So I think that's his character now.
Oh, poor Cassius Ono never gets to win.
But it was a good match. It was a really good match. Bianca had a match with Aaliyah. Bianca is obviously amazing.
What's happened to Aaliyah's face?
What's happened to Aaliyah's everything?
She's unrecognizable.
Nick walked in and goes, so is she like a slutty pirate? And I was like, dude, this is a new gimmick. I don't know. She was like Ariana Grande, and then she was like Ariana Grande with cat ears.
And then Natty was like, this is my gimmick!
And now she's a slutty pirate, I guess. Who was overly concerned about her head wrap because it fell off and she literally put it back on.
I'm...
Picture the like, it's a no from me, dog.
So funny. So funny.
So
I saw
funny.
that photo at first and was like, who is this? Like,
I thought it looked like Aaliyah.
I think she looks unrecognizably different. She's clearly had some surgery. Like, her nose looks different, her cheeks are fuller and are a different shape, and I'm like, what's happening here, girl?
I usually like when wrestlers are really loud, but when Aaliyah put Bianca in the guillotine and was just like screaming, I was like, I'm not into this.
Right. You're confusing screaming with a personality.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
She obviously lost because Bianca's the best, with the best scowl. I'm such a Bianca stan, you guys.
I love her.
There was a lot going on this weekend, and I joined a bunch, but honestly, watching Bianca Belair live, I was just like, I was dancing.
She's so good.
So that's what's on NXT tonight is the two matches. So it was Bianca versus Dakota, and then
which was great. It was a really good
War
match.
Raiders versus the Mighty. Both of them were good matches, but I was just so happy to see Bianca. Also to shove it in Ben's face, because I do not like Dakota Kai. Sorry, bros. I don't like her. She's boring. I don't have any experience with her on the indies, so I don't have any of those feelings. I think she's boring as fuck. I think your indie darlings, Kyrie and Dakota, suck. Sorry, eat my dick. I'm doing the Bianca dance.
I don't think that Dakota sucks. I think that she's been
boring.
Yeah,
she's
I think
Bailey 2.0.
Well, yeah, that's her whole deal. Is
I
that
don't
they
like
want
it.
a new Bailey. That's like literally her whole design from WWE. I only came around with her because of the Nikki and Shayna story with the like.
Yeah, she
I
did
don't
good during
understand.
that.
Yeah,
but
like,
now that she's out of it, it's like now
I
you're
thought-
back to old Team Kick. Oh well, sorry, Bianca's here.
yeah.
Watch me shine.
It really feels like Dakota needs Team Kick to be a tag team. This reminds me of, there was something that happened on Raw with Bailey and Tasha and Sasha joining back up, and like they've got to really learn how to get on page with each other again, or what else are they gonna do? Like, why do they need to get on the same page with each other? There are no tag team belts. There are no reasons for them to be a tag team, and it feels like they keep pushing this story of like these women need to be united as teams. Like, bitch, stop doing this. Like, unless you're gonna commit to a women's tag division, there is literally no reason for any of these women to be friends. They don't have to be.
They don't gotta be friends.
And it's stupid to keep suggesting that they must be because like feminine energy or whatever horse shit. Like, it's so stupid. And I feel like Dakota Dakota would really benefit from being part of a unit. Like, she seems like the perfect person to fit with another quirky fun lady and be like, we're Team Kick. We're gonna kick you in the face, but also smile. Like, that would work as a tag team gimmick, but inside of this division as a singles wrestler, it just doesn't fit. Yeah.
There was also a really good match between Pete Dunne and Kyle O'Reilly.
It's Pete Dunne.
And Kyle O'Reilly. Kyle O'Reilly has had a banger week.
I agree. And he's had a banger year. Let's get real.
Kyle O'Reilly rules.
He's been doing a great job. And like, I like Kyle O'Reilly. He's fine.
I liked him on ROH, but I really like what he's doing in NXT.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's definitely better on NXT. It translates in a way that
Which is weird.
Which it didn't really for me in Ring of Honor, and even in like New Japan when he was over there. It never really translated for me. But there's something about him in like
He's so much sillier.
Shitty Little Boys faction that I like a lot. And like, I love him playing guitar on the belts. I think it's hilarious.
Because my interactions with Kyle on ROH was always, he was like a foil for the Shitty Little Boys clubs. He would always be like, I'm going to fight Adam Cole. Like, I'm serious. I'm a grappler. Mm-hmm. And now that he gets to join the club and be silly and like
shitty,
it works.
It does. It totally
really
works. Mm-hmm.
So what did you think about NXT TakeOver?
I really enjoyed it. It was my first TakeOver live, so that I feel like I'm a little biased because I understand it wasn't like to the same level as the first NXT Chicago TakeOver, but because it was my first one live, it felt equally exciting to me.
Wait, why do you say that it wasn't to the same?
Well, I feel like the common complaint that I heard from most people was that the first match, the tag team match, was the best one of the night.
Yeah, and it really was.
And so it felt like it kind of slowly went down in energy and in like how good everything was. Even though the final match was great, it's still, I would agree with that it did feel like it had this like weird dip after the first match. But I think part of that is that match was the least hyped, and so you went into it with such low expectations that when it was fucking awesome...
Low expectations for NXT.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like, and especially within the context of the other 4 matches that were on the card, it really felt like the one that had the least hype and was so good that it like set this unrealistic expectation for the rest of the night.
Yeah. It was such a good match.
It was such a good match, absolutely. I feel like, too, the other thing that someone else pointed out to me was that there were, like, no title changes, basically, this whole weekend. Like, we finally got one at the end of Money in the Bank, but...
And we got Mustache Mountain later, but that hasn't technically happened.
That doesn't happen till Monday or fucking whatever. But so that I think is part of it, is that it sort of took away from the takeover experience, that everything stayed the same.
Right.
No belts changed. And so it felt like, what? Wait, what? And not all of the belts were defended either, which felt a little weird.
This is the one that I didn't think was going to change for sure. I was like, Undisputed is going to hold it, and they obviously did.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was so weird because Oni and Danny are
they're popular.
No, I was going to say they're not. Oni and Danny got booed. Like, everyone was hot for the Undisputed Era, and literally were booing Danny or Oni.
Yeah, but that was just Chicago. It was like
that's true.
Almost universal on social media that people were like, why the fuck are people booing Oni and Danny? Personally, I don't have a connection to them. I don't know shit about Oni Lorcan. I don't even know what his name was before he was...
Star Destroyer.
I'm sorry, that's a dumb name. I don't like it. And
I don't know what his real name. That may have just been his tagline.
I don't care for Oni Lorcan or Danny Burch. And so I was like, fuck yeah, I'll boo these dudes. I love their wrestling, and I think they're...
Yeah, they're good wrestlers.
They're very good wrestlers, but like, I literally don't care about their characters, and I don't really care about their tag team either. It was a weird like juxtaposition of so many people being hyped for them, and yet in Chicago, the craziest wrestling town, we were like, fuck these dudes, fuck this, we don't need this, and then they turn out this great match. And I think that's part of it too, is that people were so ready to be against them that when they really turned it out, everyone was ready.
The audience did switch.
Yeah, for sure.
I just thought it was interesting. Mm-hmm. Ricochet versus Velveteen.
This is a great match. I don't think it's the best match that either of them have ever had, for sure. But it was fucking
I feel like this
good.
match almost had too much hype.
Also, I rewatched it later. Obviously, we were there. That was one of the ones that I rewatched later. It was better on TV.
Okay.
Because you kind of have to see their faces.
Yeah.
It's really important to be like, yeah, bitch, I'm gonna get you. Oh, fuck. And like watching Dream react to him. I feel like the narrative of this story and Dream's story right now in general is that Dream is fucking incredible and he gets in his own way. And that's, he just lets himself get in his own way.
Puma pants?
Exactly. Oh my God.
Did you know why he was wearing the Hulk Hogan stuff?
Not until later.
Me neither. I found it out later. Which
I loved.
Because wasn't Hulk Hogan like, you don't have any charisma, you don't have any personality.
You're not going to go
and
anywhere.
Then he just came out and was like, fuck you.
I loved it. I thought it was such a good...
He also definitely had to get that cleared. And they were like, shit on that dude.
I love too that it's like a multi-level Mark experience.
Dream has no memory of that, except for all of the memory I have of that.
Oh, I remember everything. Like, I loved it. And I love too that it's like, he comes out and it's like, oh fuck, he's in this Hulk Hogan gear.
And then you're like, Puma pants.
And then he has the Puma pants. So I like too that he was like, I'm clearly gonna wear these Puma pants because this is like a wink and a nod to all these fucking smarks who are definitely gonna know what this is.
Everyone is expecting me to have some kind of something.
Exactly. Like, this is now part of my character that I have these airbrush tights. I'm gonna do this specialty. And I like that WWE clearly was like, if you put this Hulk Hogan gimmick on top of it, you get this like extra Mark reach out. So it's like...
And it all matches.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that was a really smart move on his part, but on WWE especially, of allowing him to do it, that like you get the tights of the super smarks who all know that it's Prince Puma, then you get this additional mark of Hulk Hogan of some of like level of smart.
And then you get that additional tough enough mark.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. It's like you get this mark of like, I know you're trolling Hulk Hogan, and then for the people who don't understand either of those levels, you get, here's a really charismatic, good-looking black dude taking Hulk Hogan's gimmick. Like, I thought it was just like
even though
really
he's
great.
More of a Rick Rude.
I mean, for sure, 100%. But like, I love.
See, I know old times. I'm up to Mania 5.
The ones you want to fuck.
Yeah. He has a burlesque gimmick. What am I not going to be into Rick Rude?
Also, he has beautiful hair. Let's get real.
And I like fucking the barber's fucking ass. He has a good butt.
He has a great
He's got a terrible face, though, but a good gimmick that
Ultimate
makes no sense. NXT Women's Championship match, Shayna Baszler versus Nikki Cross.
I think they did a great job. Honestly.
You rewatched it.
Yes, I did rewatch it. I watched this back-to-back with the Ronda match because you asked me to rewatch the Ronda match, so I did. But I really wanted to look at the difference between Shayna and Ronda, and they basically play the same character, except one is a heel and one is a babyface. And I was trying to figure out, like, I really like the Shayna match because I liked that Nikki Cross can elevate her, and her chaos takes your eye away
Her
from
laughing and smiling right before she passed out was brilliant.
Oh, brilliant. I loved it. I thought it was great. It was such a good addition of
Though I was upset that she didn't win. This is the one that I thought was going to switch.
It made sense to me with the chokeout, though. Like, oh, you are for real chaos. You don't care. You don't care about this win for real.
You don't care about this shit at all.
You just want chaos. And so I really enjoy that. But I liked that Nikki elevates her to a way that draws your eye away from the fact that Shayna's still very green, and like Shayna is trying to elevate to Nikki's level, which I appreciated. But when you watch that in juxtaposition with Ronda and Nia, my reaction to watching the Ronda Nia match a second time is that if you don't watch Ronda, it's a great match. Like,
are you fucking kidding me?
I watched it a second time, and everything that I liked was all stuff where Nia drew my eye away from the fact that Ronda's not very good. And so
I wholeheartedly disagree.
Oh, she's not good.
That's not
She's not good.
Oh my God, I disagree.
She's not good.
You can't just say she's not good over everything I say. You have to listen. I thought she sold really well. I thought she had really good character work. She incorporated her judo bullshit into it in a good way. The punches looked more real than anybody else's fucking punches on the women's roster. That running knee was really good. Her, like, character work in
her running knee was very good. I will say, I did enjoy the running knee. I credit where credit is due. I thought
the
that
one
that was
thing
good.
you enjoyed.
No, I also liked the actual in-ring movement of the crossbody. I thought the climbing up the ropes and the non-balance was fucking awful, but the actual crossbody was fine. So credit where credit is due.
Yeah, but can't you, for somebody who hasn't wrestled before, and that's literally part of her storyline, that this was her first singles match.
Yeah, that's why it's bullshit.
Having a little, it is bullshit. No, okay, but I think I 100% agree that it's bullshit, and I don't like Ronda, and I'm not giving her any credit that way. But if you consider that this is, I'm not saying that she should be getting this stuff, but what she has done in this short amount of time is good.
It's not, though. If you saw that match live at an AAW show, you'd be like, "This is bullshit."
I don't think I would. If I
absolutely you would.
No, I don't. I think if I had all of the character and backstory, that I wouldn't, because that sells what's going on in the ring.
See, and I disagree, because I think that the problem with Ronda's character is that they are asking us to make a giant disconnect from who Ronda is as a person, which is a brand new wrestler who's a piece of shit. And if her whole gimmick is, I am the real life Ronda Rousey, who's the real life Ronda Rousey. Hold on, I'm not done yet. I'm the real life Ronda Rousey. I do this Ronda Rousey stuff. I'm the real Ronda Rousey. Like, okay, you're bullshit. You're a terrible fucking person. You say terrible fucking things, and you're not good enough for me to draw away from the fact that you're playing yourself and you're shit. Like, I can't get past it.
Okay, but you have to admit and acknowledge that you can't get past that. Most people, the people who buy the fucking t-shirts and stuff, they don't read and watch the stuff the way that we do. They don't know that she's a shitty person. A lot of people don't know that she's a shitty person. So if
they have Google.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, people don't. You're expecting a lot from the audience that they're not going to bring to the table, and that's fine. But if you are coming at it from somebody who, I absolutely understand where you're coming from, but if you're coming at it from the perspective of a lot of the audience who doesn't have all that context, or frankly doesn't care and doesn't think that Ronda, the person who is a shitbag, which I am agreeing with, taints what she's doing in the ring, then what she did was good and was compelling.
Again, okay, here's the other thing. Here's my other point to this. What you're saying is that she did good, which is not true. What she actually did is she beat expectations for being literal shit. And that's not the same. And
I do think she was good, though. I watched the match a second time. I do think she did a good job.
I think that she did a good job of allowing Nia to look strong, and like,
this was also Nia's best match.
I would agree with that. I said, if you don't watch Ronda, it's a great match. I think the other thing about Ronda is like, okay, great, you can take a flying barrel roll. Literally, what the fuck else can you do? Like, okay, you can do a knee strike. Great. You can do a really awkward climb up to a crossbody. Okay, great. This is not a connected wrestling match. If you saw someone else do this, to me feels like the girl who fought Shotzi, who all she could do was kick her in the crotch.
No.
All you can do is take a flying barrel roll and awkwardly climb up.
First of all, she couldn't take any of those hits.
Okay, well, but that's how it feels to me. It feels like that same level of like Shotzi's great as an indie wrestler, and like maybe if you put her up on main roster right now, it would feel very awkward and she would still feel green. But in these small companies, she feels exceptional, and that girl looked like shit. That's how I feel about Ronda. If Ronda's being elevated to this level, she should have to deliver at this level, and she can't.
But if we're being honest, Nia's not a very good wrestler either.
She's a better wrestler than Ronda is, but I agree with you, and I think that it's been a weird transition to have Nia be as a champion. I like Nia because I think that she stands for the right things as a champion. That's fine. I totally get that. Should Nia be a forever champ? No, she should lose to a better wrestler. And the fact that Ronda is even being elevated into this spot at all is an insult to everyone else on the roster.
I just feel like you're so caught up in what...
I am not willing to let Ronda have an easy pass.
No,
she has to prove herself, and she hasn't. And she won't, because she's terrible.
I understand what you're saying, but I just think that this is gonna be exhausting, and that we should just admit that for what they're doing with her, it's working.
But I don't think it is working.
But as somebody who ran a like fucking poll that got over like, I mean, it got literally thousands of responses. It is working. Because it was on Cage Side, but it also, they retweeted the poll onto SB Nation, which has, that's like literally reaching thousands and thousands of people. The majority of people, it is working, and people are really hyped for it. What they're doing might not be working for us, and I enjoyed watching that match, both live and again. Like, I don't like Ronda. I'm never going to... I literally sat during her entrance. Like, I'm not going to be a mark. But I think what they're doing, how they brought her in, what they're doing with Stephanie, what they did with Stephanie and them at WrestleMania, what they're doing now, it is working.
Well, how do you feel about what happened on Monday? Like, what the fuck is the point of her beating the shit out of Kurt? I don't get it. Like, are you a heel? If she turns heel, I'm in. Absolutely, I will commit 100% to that because I think it's the right move for her character.
She's going to be a Steve Austin tweener.
But she's not good enough to do that. Like, you can't be an in-between Steve Austin tweener and not be good at wrestling. Like, you just can't. She's not good at promos either, and she still walks like a fucking weirdo. I can't get over it.
The thing that she did on Monday sold me on what they're doing with her because...
See, I don't get it.
Because Ronda Rousey, they're never going to make her a full bad guy because they want to cash in on her. That's why they're never going to do that. I accept that. Ronda Rousey, badass, baddest woman in the world, blah, 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 blah. She shouldn't come in and have Kurt be like, and to kowtow to whatever Kurt said, her boss.
They've been best friends. They're buddies. Also,
no, but I'm
he's
saying
the enemy of Stephanie McMahon, and so is she. Like,
but what I'm saying,
sense.
Ronda Rousey, the baddest woman in the world, the way that you make her heel without making her heel is she doesn't listen to anybody anymore. She is a wild card. She does what she wants. She beats up what she wants. And also, the 30-day suspension, I thought made sense.
I think it's a smart move.
Because you want to get Nia and Alexa out of the way, and you obviously want to push Ronda versus Alexa to SummerSlam. That makes a lot of sense. And then it also gives her a chance to train more and to work on promos more, blah, blah. She did... Although it wasn't real talking, the talking she did while beating up Alexa in the ring and the social media stuff she's doing right now has been good promo-y stuff. It wasn't an official, like, my husband calls me right promo, whatever. I think that what they're doing with her and how they're handling her is working. And I know it's working from the, like, responses of, like, people. Like, it is working for people. It is never going to work for us. And it's never going to work for a lot of people who are in the same genre and know that she's a bad person and don't like that she just got handed things and this, that, and the other thing. But what they're doing with her is kind of brilliant, and it is working.
Well, I feel like part of my thing, too, is that I also sit inside the demographic of having watched her since she was 16.
Right.
Like, I really closely followed her judo career, especially in the Olympics. I followed her all throughout MMA, right. And MMA made me hate her. And the fact that she's being marketed as MMA's darling is like a direct punch in the face.
But
like,
don't you think,
bitch, what?
As somebody who does watch MMA a lot, lots of people talk about MMA without actually watching MMA.
That's true.
So people can be like, "Oh, I love Ronda Rousey. I love her fucking MMA stuff," but they saw like 3 clips and they didn't see her get knocked out. They only know what was fed to them by ESPN and WWE and stuff. Like, most people don't watch MMA. They really don't, and they don't know shit about it.
And I totally agree with that, but it is hard to sit inside that demographic and be told,
I understand.
Like, oh yeah, you all love her and you should love her here. And it's like, unanimous among people who actually watch MMA, nah, fuck this cunt, she's bullshit.
I absolutely agree. I just think that you can have all those opinions and think she's a bad wrestler and think all that stuff, but you have to acknowledge that what they're doing with her and how it's working and it's kind of smart.
I feel like one of the things from her Monday promo that I liked, again, I will give credit where credit is due, that I liked that when she, well, no, what, I will acknowledge that, like, inside of this context of she's got to work her ass off in order for me to really appreciate her. I will give her that credit when I feel like she's actually done that. I thought that her stuff with Renee, when Renee was like, all right, fucking whatever, fuck you, bitch, basically. Not a great promo compared with other people, but for Ronda, that was the best backstage promo she's ever done. And I liked that she ended it with, I don't care if Alexa has the title when I come back, I'm gonna kick her ass.
Yeah.
That works. I feel like the real problem with Ronda's character is that she wants to be Roddy Piper, and they want her to be Stone Cold, and those are not the same characters.
Yeah.
And they will never, ever be the same characters. And if you're trying to shove that shit together, it's always gonna feel like a weird mashup. And I can't get past that as a wrestling fan, not just as an MMA person.
No, yeah. I really do get where you're coming from. I just think that I do think it's working. And I think how they've handled it is smart. And I also think when you say things, you, not the general you, I just mean you. When you say things like, as a wrestling fan, or like she's not good enough, or promos aren't this, that, and the other thing, I feel like there are a lot of people who are on both of these shows and in WWE who are bad at their jobs.
Oh, for
so
sure.
I think
I don't want them to get pushes either.
Right, I'm just saying it's not unusual. It's just more heightened and like emotional for you because you have all of this stuff with Ronda. And considering everything, I do think she's doing a good job, and I think it's gonna work. And I know it's working.
Here's part of this.
I don't know. I think
Here's
it's actually really smart writing too.
Part of the problem with me too is that if you actually put her wrestling skills up against people, you know who she's a worse wrestler than? Lana. Lana is better than she is.
Lana's also been training to wrestle way longer than her.
Exactly. She fucking should be, and should be making this progress to get better. You know who's also a better wrestler than her? Aaliyah, which is fucking saying something.
I don't know about that.
Absolutely.
I don't think I would concede that.
Aaliyah can follow a narrative in a match. I may not like her, but she can at least
I don't understand that you didn't think that there was a narrative and storytelling in that match. I really felt that.
Oh, it really felt to me that they got into the ring and it was just like, I'm going to throw you around because you can't take any other moves. You're going to do your weird fake punches. Like, I think that's part of it too. I hate her backstage warm-ups. I think it's fucking...
So does Natty.
It's fucking
Natty was
ridiculous.
Just like, I thought I was winning Money in the Bank and I just got told that I'm not.
It's so, like... First of all, her punches are bad. That's not how you actually punch.
Do you hate Samoa Joe's when he like does that?
Yes, I also hate it when he said shadowboxes.
So you just hate shadowboxing.
I hate shadowboxing because it's not realistic in the world that they're telling, because no one uses those moves, and when they do them in ring, they look bad.
Do you love Ms. Jitsu?
Ms. Jitsu is weird because he hits pancakes, and I will accept Ms. Jitsu when it involves the New Day and pancakes. But honestly, like, I really do feel that way. And I thought about that when Samoa Joe was doing his shadowboxing this week of like, what is it about this that irritates me less than Ronda? And part of it is that Joe can talk and that Joe's a great wrestler. But I do also hate that. Yeah. I hate the integration of like, we're going to do the boxing and it's going to be real. Like, but you're not, and it's not, and it looks not real. And if you're trying to hook people who are into this thing, you're going to immediately turn them off. So I think that that's a big part of it too, is I want Ronda to be a wrestler, and she's not.
But they're never
she's an MMA fighter.
She's
who does
always
going
to be somebody who does a slam in a judo way and brings UFC stuff because they want her to.
Well, also, I mean, I said credit where credit's due of the stuff she did good. When she tried to fucking judo flip Nia, it looked like dog shit. And it looked bad in person, and then I rewatched it and was like, this is worse on camera. Like,
that move didn't look great.
And it's because it's the only thing she knows how to do. And so she can't go to other stuff because she only knows 4 moves.
Well, I also think this is maybe not a nice thing to say. I think that she miscalculated how hard it would be to pick up somebody Nia's size.
Well, she can flip Triple H and Kurt Angle in the same way. Like, why aren't you looking at your partner being like, duh? It's bizarre to me that she would misjudge that. And that's because she's not a good wrestler.
I just feel like we're going around in circles.
I feel like we've made some progress about this, though. Like, we're both clarifying what it is we like and what we don't like and, like, where those lines are. Like, I'm always gonna be harder on Ronda. Always.
I just feel like if we were just people who watched it, like, whatever, we would be really into this.
I disagree. Again, she wrestles like Lana and like Aaliyah, and I don't like them, and they're better talkers.
I love Lana.
I mean, have you always?
No, but
I would rather see Ronda come out and do a bad burlesque routine. I'm 1,000% serious about that.
I'm fully sold on Lana. She did a great job on Saturday.
Funny. She was so funny. I love when they let her be funny. Like,
she's weird.
She's weird and hilarious. Like, Rusev Day is such an effective faction because they're good wrestlers with Aiden and Rusev, and Lana is okay enough
she
that
improves
the funny
all
works.
the time.
She improves every time she gets in there, and she's funny to an extent that it improves her wrestling, which I agree. I like a lot. And like, if Ronda could hit those character moments that improve her wrestling for me, I would accept those. But it's all, I'm the real Ronda. 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 Like, okay, you're a turf and you don't think Sandy Hook happened. Do you want me to Google you? Because I will, and I'll be mad. Like, I don't get it.
I know, but I feel like the in-ring stuff is working.
I just fundamentally disagree.
It's not working for you, but it is working.
I know. And again, that casual fan demographic really does make a difference. I totally understand that. And I also think it was a smart move on WWE's part to not have her win the title. And I've heard that the reason that they did that is because they realized we're in Chicago. And if she gets booed, she's going to get the Roman and she'll never come back from it. So it was a smart move.
Well, also, I think if you put the belt on her, then casual fans and people like me, honestly, who are giving a lot of the story, at least the benefit of the doubt, because I don't feel like being mad about things, is if you can forgive a lot, but once somebody has a strap on, then it's like, what the fuck are you doing to this championship?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it exposes a lot of weaknesses that they can't afford to have exposed.
That's part of why I disliked her thing with Nia, because when you're in a championship match, you should elevate. You should elevate to the level that you could win the belt. And if you winning the belt at all means, like, if she had the perfect match and did the best that she could possibly do, but then she wins and everyone's pissed, that means it's a bad match. Like, she should be able to
I don't think people would have been pissed if she won. I think people would have been pissed later when they realized, like, it was a mistake.
But that's what I mean. Like, if you can't actually put the belt on someone, they shouldn't be in one of those matches.
Well, if you put this, remember when you put the strap on Bailey and it didn't work? Like, but she's a good wrestler, so what's your, like, argument for that?
She's written like dog shit on the main roster. That's a big part of it.
Ronda's being written well.
Again, I don't agree with that. If your only thing is I'm the real life Ronda Rousey and you don't want me to Google her, don't have that be her character.
Lars Sullivan and Aleister Black.
Oh my god. The best thing about this weekend was everyone I know being like, oh, his mouth is horrifying. I hate this.
I can't with Lars Sullivan. And he also, I didn't rewatch this.
I watched part of it again. I didn't watch the whole thing.
It was
enough to be like,
not great.
Enough to be like, I hate the inside of your mouth. I never want to see it.
But he also
again.
didn't do a great job.
No, he didn't. And also he took that ridiculous fake black mask. Like, that was one part that we rewatched several times. We just put it on rewind and we're like, let's watch him fall again. But he gets hit with this black mask.
Misses completely,
and then does the most hilarious crumble I've ever seen in my life. It was like, he heard the slap. That's why he fell, because he heard Aleister Black slap his leg and was like, oh, I have to react to this. Because it would look very weird if this slap happened and then nothing happened. Although, objectively, it looked very weird that he took a bump that he didn't actually take. But his crumble was literally this. He like double crumble. And he was like, oh.
Yeah, I just don't think he's very good and I don't like him.
Like they want him to be a monster like Braun, but Braun is funny. And
like, it also made Aleister Black look not great either.
Yeah, like, okay, he won. Of course he won. But yeah, I agree. Like, he didn't elevate him in the way that he elevated Dream, which was important to his character. And like,
yeah.
It just felt like, why are you here? Why, again, Lars could not win the belt. And so it felt very weird to even have him in this match at all. Like, you're clearly not going to win. You're clearly not to this level. You can't talk because people think your mouth is gross. Like, it feels...
He does talk a lot.
I know, and it's disgusting. It's so fucking gross.
It's really gross.
So gross. His mouth is too narrow, his teeth are too small and long, and his mouth connects spit at the corners, and his jaw is too long. He can open his mouth a terrifying length. It's so gross. I just hate it. I hate it so much.
No. I feel bad making fun of somebody for something that they can't control, but it is really...
You picked a profession where you're on TV with your mouth open all the time.
Yeah.
It's gross. Fix it.
How would you even fix that, Erin?
You know what he would benefit from? A mask.
Yeah, but your mouth is exposed in a mask.
Not necessarily. Put a fucking mesh panel over it. I never need to see your gross teeth again.
Oh my goodness.
Give him a mouth guard. Put a fucking mouth guard in his mouth.
Then more spit would collect in his mouth.
Maybe he wouldn't talk if he had a mouth guard in. But at least I wouldn't have to see his gross teeth.
Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa.
Unpopular opinion, I thought this match was kind of a letdown. I loved it. I thought they did a great job, but
I think the beginning was good and the end was really effective, but there was a big chunk in the middle, and it was long. There was a big chunk in the middle that was like, okay.
What are we doing? Like, honestly, what are we doing with this match? We're clearly not going to allow Ciampa and Candice to actually fight each other.
When she just ran past him, I was like, I'm out. I gotta go.
Yeah.
We gotta beat the traffic.
Exactly. It's like, oh, okay, I like narratively that this is like the theme for this episode is narratively, but I like that Johnny tried to become Ciampa and that's ultimately what got him defeated. I thought that was a very good piece of storytelling. But what are we doing?
And they did the wrestling was really good.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
they're incredible. Like, you can't do some of the stuff they did if you don't completely trust each other.
Watching Ciampa tear that ring apart was very effective.
Yeah.
It is weird to see
That's
that
what I'm
ring
saying.
close.
Like, from that part on, it was really good. And right at the beginning with the stop sign and stuff, it was really good. It just dragged a little bit in the middle, which is weird for a street fight say it dragged.
They had a non-sanctioned match. Why are you having the same match again? That's, I think, more than anything is what it felt like.
I think they also wanted to do it in Chicago because that's where they broke up.
Yes, absolutely. And it honestly felt like they wanted to do a last man standing, but because AJ and Shinsuke booked it, they couldn't. And so they had to kind of go to this fallback. But why not do anything else? You literally just did a street fight. You just called it something different.
Right.
And so it feels especially really, what are we doing here? And we said after the match, they've got to be done, but they have a rubber match. They're going to have to. There's going to be at least one
But
more.
I want to see, one of them. I would love to see Ciampa versus Aleister Black for the belt.
I completely agree. I think that I really want to see them
Ciampa
released.
was bye, Johnny. I'm not even going to wrestle you anymore. I don't care. And then went for the belt and then beat Aleister and then Johnny wrestled him. That gives more. You get to do the fight forever, but with different stakes.
Or even Johnny interferes in the championship match and that gives it new stakes. You cost me this match. Absolutely.
Just I cost you that one or vice versa.
Yeah, exactly. I cost you this match with Cien, you cost me this match with Black, now we'll have this rubber match. That fits inside of that narrative in a way that I like. But again, if they're not actually building to Candice versus Ciampa, what the fuck are they doing with Candice? That more than anything is really pissing
Candice
me
is
off.
just toiling.
She's doing nothing. She's one of the most talented wrestlers in the world, and all she is Johnny's wife, and I fucking hate it.
It worked for a little bit. I told you what, 3 weeks ago, it is fine right now. It is gonna get old really soon.
Absolutely, yeah. And it definitely did. And again,
this was my breaking point with it.
They're really kicking
Actually, my breaking point is when Candice got knocked out from the tiniest little bump.
Absolutely.
I was like, I'm done.
This
I'm done
bitch,
with this.
for real? Are you kidding me? And I loved the moment
Candice is tougher than you, got knocked out by her tiny little husband jumping on her.
Get the fuck out of here. Do you hit your head really hard on the ramp? Is that what we're supposed to believe?
I think that's what we're supposed to believe.
Ridiculous. Get the fuck out of here. And I loved the moment of him taking off Johnny's wedding ring and spitting on it and throwing it across. It was funny because Michael couldn't see what was going on because, it's kind of a shit show at this point. And he was like, what was that? What did he throw? And I told him, I was like, oh, it was his wedding ring. He reacted in a way that I was not expecting. He was like, oh, I can't believe he would do that. Holy shit. I was like, you don't even wear a wedding ring. Why do you care? It was just such a weird moment to be like, oh, you understand that this symbolism is important, even though you personally are not. You haven't bought into this. So I, connected with that moment as well at the end. But again, what are we doing?
What are we doing?
I love both of them so much, and I want both of them to do so well, and I feel like I just want them released into the general population of other wrestlers. It's like Cammy. It's like Sammy and Kevin, where I love the chemistry they have together. Fight forever. Absolutely. I love that this narration runs over their whole careers. We got to a point with them where it was bitch, I need to see you with someone else. Yeah. And I definitely feel that way about Johnny and
then they teamed up and it was great.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I had to do Money in the Bank.
I mean, we got the hard part of the way already. We literally interrupted NXT to argue about Ronda for 25 minutes.
Legend Brothers versus Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. I missed this one. Did you miss this one?
No, I was there for this.
We forgot about the time change. Oh. And then right before, I was like, fuck. And Dad was like, what? And it was like, it's not at 7. It's at 6. Mm-hmm. We got there as soon as this one. And I feel bad because my dad is a very traditional fan, right? He started watching again because I watch whatever. So he really likes the Bludgeon Brothers. He he likes that they're big and he thinks that they have a cool gimmick. And he was
Luke
he was like a little disappointed that we missed it. I was like, I'm sorry, you said 7-2. Ah.
Yeah, I only got there in time because Sarah, the woman that I went with, sent me like 4 emails and was like, hey, these tickets say this time, the website says this other time, WWE just tweeted this other time. Can we like find a common time here? So we had to like group think it.
Yeah.
It was hard.
It's funny because they mention it, but it's like you're so used to it in one way. And I was like, I should have known better. I knew it. I just fucking forgot. Mm-hmm. But whatever, who cares?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a surprisingly good match. I actually really liked it.
Yeah, their match on SmackDown was like okay too. Mm-hmm. And now the Bludgeon Brothers are all up in Daniel Bryan's ship for some reason because maybe Daniel Bryan's is Kane coming back?
Oh, God. Are we reuniting Team Hell No? I just like don't understand.
But like, why else would Bludgeon Brothers mess with Daniel Bryan if there wasn't going to be a tag thing? Yeah. And the tag scene in general is like crazy, boring, and awful right now.
Which is so weird because like 2 months ago, the SmackDown scene was incredible. It's like the second
then they
put it on the Bludgeon Brothers, it was like, oh, what the fuck is happening?
You had the Usos and the New Day, even though that was getting a little stale. But Usos and New Day, like they put on Barn Burners.
That's a fucking thing. They basically jobbed to Sanity this week. It was like.
But that made Sanity look really strong.
Exactly.
And that was effective. And I think that was a good use of.
I would agree with it that it was effective, but it's very jarring to have the Usos go back.
It was supposed to be jarring.
That's true. That's a good point.
I don't think it's. And don't you want to see a feud between Sanity and the Usos?
Absolutely, I do. But it's weird to see them bring up Sanity after so many months of just teasing it and letting them sit in limbo and like.
Has it been months?
Yes, it's been since WrestleMania. It's a literal months. So I think that's part of it is that it's weird to see a team debut and be strong, which is like a kind of shitty thing to say, but most of the time when people come up, it's like they get this hype run and then they just disappear. They do an ascension where it's like, oh, okay, this means nothing. And so it's weird to see them be like, we're putting the Usos out there. Like we spent all this time building the Usos. We've spent all this time making them like really reputable, hard, heel-ish champions who are kind of good guys now. So it's weird to be like, are you really going to do this with Sanity? Or did you just throw the Usos away? And it like WWE has such a track record that it felt especially bizarre to me.
Daniel Bryan defeated Big Cass.
Cass!
I was like, Dad, we got to go. They're going to put the women's ladder on the match first.
That's what I thought too!
And I don't want to miss it. It's like the one thing that I really want to see. And then we sat down with like, it just started. And then it was like Big Cass and Daniel Bryan. And I was like, what?
Smart,
but
honestly.
It was so smart.
It made so much sense.
Because the audience was
so hard.
They were so excited for the pay-per-view and nothing else had happened because like the pre-show technically doesn't count. Mm-hmm. That the first match, no matter what, is going to get the hype. And I feel like they were like,
we got to burn it now.
They're going to pop for Daniel Bryan and they're going to be invested in this match in a way that they wouldn't be anywhere else on the card. And it was actually pretty brilliant.
Absolutely. I totally agree. I thought it was a very smart move to open with him. And
Cass did a fine job and then got fired.
Yeah, it was the best match I've ever seen Big Cass do.
I would agree.
For sure. Even though there were several times where like I was sitting up, if you're looking at the ring and the Jumbotron, I was up in the top left corner. I was behind the Jumbotron, so I couldn't see it at all. So it was very weird to be like, I can see Gorilla, and I can see all of the back of the Jumbotron, which was bizarre.
They sell those seats? That's weird.
They're cheap. That's part of why we got them, because we were like, oh, well, we're going to take over. Do we want to do Money in the Bank? We'll just buy these cheap family seats.
Oh, I spent so much money. We had really good seats.
Well, I don't know that I would choose to sit there again. I'm really glad we did.
Yeah.
We were directly behind Kevin being thrown off the ladder.
Ooh.
And so we got this like really weird close. Those screens look like they're solid, but they're not.
Wait, I knew that.
So it was weird to look through the screen at all of this happening. And then Michael mentioned during the Tommaso Johnny match, it's very disappointing that they've started to use stretchers so often because it immediately, as soon as you see it, you're like,
yeah, but they stretchered him out, which was effective. That's what I was going to say,
is that if you show it on TV, it's like, oh, this doesn't matter. He's not actually hurt. Watching them sneak out Kevin on a stretcher was frightening.
It was scary.
Honestly frightening to be like, oh, fuck.
He fell for a long time.
He fell like 15 feet off of that fucking ladder.
When he walked out the next day, I was like, oh, thank God.
That's what I did too. I was like, oh, thank God he's okay. He's not fucking dead. But like it was very bizarre to be at that level and see that. So seeing Daniel and Cass from that weird like angle, that's part of why I wanted to rewatch Ronda and Nia, because seeing them from on top, I was like, all I can see are these botches. All I can see is how you're not connecting. All I can see is this like weird bird's eye view, which is part of why I was like, I definitely need to rewatch this on TV and get this, again, narrative view of how WWE wants this. So it was weird to watch Big Cass and Daniel and there were a couple times where I was like, you don't care about Daniel's safety at all. Like, clearly didn't. There were times where he threw him and you could see that Daniel landed on his head and they like weren't showing it because people would freak out, basically. And it was like, yo, bro, all the people in this company you should care about. Yeah, so when he got fired, I was like, well, I mean, also, this is not like a reason that he got fired that's been stated. There were a couple of points during that match where he was like, hype for me, crowd, give me the booze, I'm the bad guy. And they just started chanting Enzo at him.
Yeah, there were a couple people by me that were chanting Enzo. And that was one of the times when I shut my mouth and I was like, will not yell. I want to turn around and be like, fun to chant for an accused rapist. Super fun.
So I wonder... Like,
but there were also a lot of children by me.
And, like, I wonder if that's a part of that, if they got to the point of, like, you're a problem, you're not a great wrestler, your promos aren't good, you're getting drunk all the time. Every time people don't like you, they're gonna chant your accused rapist former tag team partner name at you. That done. Seems like a hard line. Like, I wonder how much of that all, like, got swept together. But it was a noticeable thing for me that it's like, wow, Chicago is chanting Enzo at you? Like, bitch, you fucked up. Like, that's not good. But overall, it was a good match. It was a decent match.
It wasn't terrible.
It was much better than I was expecting.
Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn.
This was not a good match. I did not like this match at all. But now knowing Sami is injured, like, it makes a lot more sense. But what is happening here?
Also, here's the thing. Bobby so far in WWE has been not great, which sucks because I actually really like Bobby Lashley. But and they're just like mishandling it all. Yeah, wow. In what world is Bobby Lashley a fucking babyface?
They don't know how to book black men. That's all it is. He's like, oh, you're not an evil foreigner. You're a happy black man.
They're letting EC3 do everything that he did in Impact. Mm-hmm. To a big extent, they're letting Bobby Roode do just a character that he was doing, except he's a good guy. With a rope. But Bobby had good guy runs. At the end of what Eric Young was doing at Impact, he was being like crazy dude.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They let Austin Aries be Austin Aries.
Same character.
I don't understand why they're changing Lashley. Right. They're letting Drew. Drew was in WWE before. Mm-hmm. They didn't bring him back the same way. They brought him back as the savior of wrestling, which has been his gimmick for a while.
Yeah.
And it works as a heel or a babyface. I don't understand why they don't just bring Lashley in as what was working.
Honestly, it's because they think anyone who's ever done UFC is a good guy. Because they think that crossover...
Not Shayna.
Other than Shayna.
Not Sonya.
Well, Sonya-ish. Sonya also gets to, like, she's part of a popular faction. She was tied to Paige. She also has the gay gear. Like, she exists in a weird middle place where, like, yeah, she's a bad guy, but it's, like, also acknowledged that she's not a bad person, and so she fits in that.
Yeah.
And also, Sonya was never, like, really a UFC fighter. That's not the right word. Fighter. And with Shayna, when they brought her in, she was Ronda's friend. She was a good guy.
She was
she was a tweener. She was what they want Ronda to be right now, and it didn't work then either. And so I think the fact that they've given her eyebrows and shifted her into a bad guy, really fits into that same kind of character. But they've also very much pulled back on the specifically UFC part of that. They're like, she's an MMA fighter. She knows how to punch people. When someone's been in, like, straight up UFC, that's all they want to talk about. And Bobby Lashley was only,
he's Bellator. But they can just say MMA and people assume it's UFC, and he's big enough that he, like, fits that. But Brock isn't a good guy.
He kind of is. He's a tweener. He's not actually a bad guy. It's just people hate him because he's not there.
My dad hates Kevin Owens.
Really? Your dad is such a mark. That's so cute.
Yeah, he's like, oh, he's so annoying. And I'm like, yeah, but he's supposed to be.
No, he's so
I was so offended.
I get it. I totally get it.
I was so offended.
I know. I totally get it.
I was like, and how dare you? How dare you? Seth Rollins defeated Elias, and then Dolph Ziggler defeated Seth Rollins. I got blue balled so hard. I was like, are we about to see Seth versus Drew?
I know. I was like really disappointed that it wasn't.
I was like, Dolph will lose, and then we'll do this next week, and then maybe Drew will get it, because this is a good... and then Dolph won, and I was like, but what about Drew?
Also, I don't understand. You just introduced them as this fucking force to be reckoned with tag team, and then you give Dolph the Intercontinental belt, which he doesn't fucking need. Like, I get it. in the story of like Seth was unprepared and didn't take him seriously. I get,
but why wasn't it Drew?
Exactly. Why wasn't it fucking
I literally
Drew?
don't understand why it wasn't
It
Drew.
doesn't make any sense. And like, I especially love the idea of Dolph coming out and be like, I'm gonna fight you. LOL, it's actually Drew and he kicked your ass. Like, that works. Dolph winning
so weird.
doesn't. I just don't get it. And like the promo that he cut backstage, again, credit where credit is due.
Yeah, Dolph Ziggler is good at his job when he shows up to his job.
When he shows up to his job, he does do a very good job. But also like,
but then on his Instagram, it's just all fucking him in talking about being on Fox at 8 p.m. or whatever. Dolph Ziggler, trash monster.
Get out of here. So I'm interested to see what happens with the rematch with Seth and Dolph next week. And will Drew interfere? Is Drew going to take is the belt going to be what breaks up Drew and Dolph?
I don't know, man. Because it didn't seem like it at all.
No, not at all.
Because they like did their Claymore move.
Yeah, and if like that's the catalyst to this is that Drew's like, I'm better than you and I deserve that belt and you don't. I'm into that. I can totally see that
It was
working.
just a weird choice to have build up Elias so much, have him have this good match with Seth, have him lose, and then have Seth immediately lose it, and then have Elias on Monday Night Raw just sing a ballad. The sad ballad. An uninterrupted sad ballad.
It was the only part of his segment was the sad ballad too, which is bizarre. Also, Elias really missed an opportunity to troll Chicago by not learning the first opening chords to Call of Personality, I gotta say. Like, everyone was gonna chant CM Punk anyway. I feel like they really should have drawn that out of people by having Elias play part of Call of Personality.
That would have been funny.
It would have worked really well.
They're too big of pussies, though.
I know. That's true.
Women's Money in the Bank match. Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, Ember Moon, Natalya, Naomi, and Lana. Things that I would say. It was really good, and it definitely was better than last year's. And not even just because the Ellsworth stuff. It was longer. This was like 20 minutes long. Mm-hmm. I looked at my phone and I was like, it was like 20 minutes long. Most people got a good slot. I thought Ember did good. Ember, if I'm being honest, Ember was like a little bit of a disappointment for me in this match because I
didn't feel that way.
I thought she did good, but I just expect so much from Ember, and and to be honest, I thought she was one of the top contenders to win.
I agree.
And so when she didn't do more, I was like a little disappointed. But fucking breakout star of this match was fucking Lana. Lana did a really good job in this match.
I feel like
she didn't do the best. She wasn't my favorite part of this match. If I'm being honest, my favorite part of this match was Naomi, because Naomi is MVP of everything, and she did some really cool ass moves in this match. But I was shocked by Lana.
I would say too, watching it in person and then going back and rewatching it in person, you can see so much more of what Lana was doing. And so I would agree with that. I feel like Lana really showed up to this match. Watching it on TV afterwards, Naomi, Sasha, and Ember were the three for sure.
That's fair.
They made sure to focus on the three of them in a way that they didn't with other people. Also, I would like to point out that this was a time where we had 3 black women in the ring. None of them have a racist gimmick.
When all three of them
did great.
When all 3 of them got in the ring, I was like, this is the match I want to see.
Absolutely. And like, I love seeing them together. I love that we got this acknowledgement of like, these are 3 strong, powerful black women who have very different characters and none of them are racist.
We also got how you brought up how they didn't mention it all, but we got it in the ring is Charlotte and Sasha.
Yes. I like how Charlotte's like, "Sup, bitch, here I am!"
And Sasha was like, "All right, ho.
Let's fucking do it." And I like
that was way more effective to me than any of the Charlotte Becky stuff.
And I thought that they did a good job of putting all of the horsewomen together at the top of the ladder. You got Becky versus Charlotte. You got Becky versus Sasha.
All the horsewomen in the match.
In the match, yes, absolutely. Again, disappointing that Bayley didn't show up during this match in any way at all.
They started it on Monday Night Raw with the...
Finally!
This one feels like for real, and a lot of people are like, I'm over it. And I was like, no this one, is for real. This one, her throwing the fucking water bottle. Yeah. They attacked each other.
I love, too, that Sasha got dressed and Bayley apparently wandered around until...
Sasha didn't get dressed. She put a jacket over her gear.
Oh, I thought she also like had pants on.
She put a jacket over her gear, grabbed her bag, and walked to her car.
Oh, okay. I thought
and
she
then
also had
Bayley
ended
the segment that they fought. Bayley was on the ground, so Bayley clearly had to like
okay. All right, that makes more sense. Yeah, I definitely thought Sasha got full dress. Like,
she didn't.
What
she had her
happened
gear
here?
because I remember because I was like, why are you just in your gear and a blazer?
Okay, that makes more sense.
Though that would be my outfit.
I love the idea of Sasha getting into a car and Bayley's like, I am not finished with you. Like I feel like Bayley yelling I'm not finished with you is a like this is for real happening. Also, the next fucking pay-per-view is Extreme Rules, and God knows Bayley needs a banger match at Extreme Rules. And
I don't think they're gonna have one. I think they're pushing it to SummerSlam.
Oh, I think that they're for sure gonna have some kind of Extreme Rules match that ends in neither of them winning, and then they'll have a rubber match or whatever at SummerSlam.
How do you feel about all the Alexa Bliss stuff? She was honestly, like Ember did a really, really good job in the match. I just wanted more from Ember, and I really thought she was one of the ones that was going to win it.
Yeah.
I was so bummed when Alexa got it.
She didn't do shit. I was really upset. She did fine.
I think the idea was that she didn't do shit, and she's like a squirrely like heel that doesn't do stuff and then sneaks in and wins stuff. Like that tracks with their character. Also, for her to come in and cash in same night. If she had taken an incredible amount of bumps, it would have been like, how can you know what I mean? So, true. Storyline, it all tracked, but it was just like, literally.
Of everyone in
we
this
talked
match.
for weeks. I was like, she's the one that I don't want to win it.
Yeah.
And as soon as she got it, I was like, fuck.
Yeah. I'm glad she cashed in, but at the same time, like...
But that means we don't have a women's Money in the Bank for a whole fucking year. Exactly. I mean, I guess Carmella held it for almost a year.
And I like that they're doing something different, especially because it's Raw and the last one was SmackDown and blah, blah, blah. But I feel like part of it, too,
especially because Alexa and Carmella have very similar heel stuff.
That's what I was going to say.
Her with the Money in the Bank would have been very similar.
Alexa holding the Money in the Bank, she's one of the... I mean, I like everyone in this match. And I think many of them could have held the Money in the Bank and been okay.
I almost lost my voice when Naomi had it. I was like, yes!
I know. Oh my god. But I feel like Alexa could have done the promos for a Miss Money in the Bank in a way that almost no one else in that match would have been able to, because she just has such command of heel promos that like, it would have worked. And they just
Sasha could have done it.
Well, yeah, I feel like Sasha would have been okay too, but she fits into that character in a way that's not like necessary. And also, the Money in the Bank is, at its best, is supposed to elevate. It should absolutely take someone who's like, I'm a little...
She doesn't need to be elevated
at
all.
It's like, I'm a little better than mid-card, but I need to show management that I can...
Which is what Mella was.
Yeah, and in many ways is what Braun is doing, too. Like, Braun is there, but needs this elevation of like, yeah, bitch, get excited. I'm about to beat Brock Lesnar's ass. Like, he needs this in that sense of elevation, and the fact that we got no elevation at all in any sense from Alexa is a little weird. And like, when Dean won and cashed in the same night... Dean doesn't need that elevation, but him winning the title effectively did that elevation for him. And that worked in the same way because it's Dean, and Dean is a crazy trash possum and like can do whatever the fuck he wants, kinda. But Alexa doesn't have that character, and so it felt like a really weird choice. Even though I liked that she cashed in, it felt like a misuse of the women's Money in the Bank.
That's why I didn't want her from the beginning, because it always felt like out of literally everybody in this match, even Charlotte, she didn't need it. She just lost it.
Exactly. And she held that title hostage for 223 days with 4 matches. Ridiculous. If she doesn't have... She did a fucking Nikki Bella to AJ Lee's run, basically, last time, where it was like, oh, you're just holding this to hold it. Like... She's better than that, too. That's the even more annoying thing. Like, oh, is your roster not deep enough? Pull some goddamn women up and put some other on there.
The roster is deep enough.
Exactly. Absolutely. And also, like...
Dana Brooke had a really sad tweet the other day. He said, I just want to wrestle.
Yeah, like, I saw... I don't remember who posted this meme, but it was...
It's interesting when they pull people who are not, like, indie wrestlers, and then you instill this passion in them, and they work really hard. If you pull, like, somebody like Mandy or Dana, who are these power lifters who have busted their ass and know how to work hard and know how to bust their ass, so they do that for their new job, and they may not be the best in the world, but they are really trying hard, and you instill love of something into them, and then you're just like, man, I don't know, fuck off.
Yeah, fuck you guys. We don't care about this.
That's sad.
I don't remember who posted this meme, but there was it was a caption of, like... What we have is this really deep roster of diverse women who are Latina and Black, and we have all of these great women. And then it was a still shot of Paris Hilton from the whatever that fucking show she was on with Nicole Richie. Simple Life, where she's standing outside an ice cream truck with a blondie ice cream cone in her hand, and it's like, we have all these women, there's all this diversity, WWE. And then the still shot is her holding this ice cream cone and her going, you know what? Give me 5 more of these little blonde bitches. And that's exactly what WWE feels like. It's like, okay, we have this huge depth of talent and diversity.
I saw a meme that was Becky Lynch with a blonde wig on. And they were like, introducing your newest superstar.
Mm-hmm. And like,
the crowd was so hot every time Becky got close.
They know that everyone is hyped for her because they keep teasing her winning this fucking belt. And like, she did win
on SmackDown. She did beat Billy.
Yes. And
Billy and Peyton's promo is not my favorite.
It was probably the least good one that they've done, but it's so effective for their characters that, like, by the end of it, I was like, I'm supposed to hate you, and I fucking do. Yes. Mm-hmm. They had a great match together, and they're both really good. Like,
but it was nice to see Becky win something.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree.
It was a really good match. It just didn't have the ending that I wanted, but whatever. She cashed it in. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
We're moving on. Hopefully she doesn't hold the title for another billion days.
Yeah, agreed.
Roman Reigns versus Jinder Mahal.
I've never seen a crowd revolt like this.
Honestly, I couldn't even pay attention because I was like, I
was so
can't.
distracted by the crowd.
I just like can't.
I didn't rewatch this one.
I don't think there's any reason to rewatch it.
Well, I'm really interested in how a bunch of people said that commentary just talked through the whole match because they were like, we cannot let it be quiet because you'll be able to hear
how insanely fucking loud it is.
I've gone to a lot of live events. I've seen a lot of wrestling live. I've watched a lot of wrestling on TV. I've never heard an end this match chant. That was nuts.
I didn't hear that one. I heard
it went
CM Punk, Velveteen Dream.
Oh, I didn't hear Velveteen
Johnny
Dream.
Gargano. I heard a lot of NXT chants.
There was the ones that I heard specifically that really stuck out to me of like, man, I've never heard this. End this match. This is awful. Which, like, I know that they've chanted some time, but I've never been in a crowd that was like, this
beach balls.
People were excited about beach balls, which I've never seen. It was nuts. People were full on doing the wave. Like, it was, why did they book Roman in Chicago? Why even try? They clearly are never going to get him over in Chicago. Why not run an injury storyline every time he comes to Chicago? It'll piss off Chicago people in the right way, but then you don't have to fucking cover for this bullshit. Like, how much work does their editing
Also, you
team
didn't
have
give
to do
anybody
now?
to cheer for other than Sunil Singh, praise be.
Yeah, for real. But then also, like, Roman is the babyface who also, like, works with the Special Olympics and he punches a dude in a wheelchair. Like,
Well, I mean, he didn't
weird.
actually need the wheelchair, but yes.
But,
Oh my god,
that's
the best moment of the night is when the Katie from the Special Olympics was there and everyone cheered for her and she looked so overwhelmed and it was amazing.
And, like,
That was sweet.
Chicago's a shitty crowd, but, like, that was nice.
That was really nice.
We've seen people be shitty about people with cancer before in Chicago.
Yes.
So,
One of the
like,
times I got mouthy at one of these wrestling shows.
So it was nice that the whole crowd was
I
like,
defeated cancer, so I can say whatever I want. It's like, no.
No,
just
you
because you
can't.
beat cancer doesn't mean you get to tell a 12-year-old that she sucks because she beat cancer.
Also, that's a lie.
Also,
like,
you're-
bro, I know you didn't beat cancer. Shut the fuck up.
Old man yelling at a 12-year-old girl, so shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I will always open my mouth. There was a little kid behind us who had a really high-pitched voice, and it was very annoying because it was so loud in our ears, but he was so excited, so it wasn't like... It wasn't annoying in that way, it's just annoying because, like, it was actually giving me a headache, but he, at one point, was like, I feel like maybe I'm embarrassing myself right now.
Aww.
And I turned around, I was like, I can't get my mouth shut. I turned around, and I was like, you should never, ever be embarrassed for liking something. Also, when Ellsworth came out in that Asuka match, he was like, oh my god, who is it? And I was like... I think it's James Ellsworth. And he was like, no, that's crazy. And then when he took his mask, he was like, how did you know?
Oh, that's so cute.
He was really cute. But man, his AJ Styles chant was ear piercing.
I saw a super cute little girl waiting to get in for Money in the Bank. She was wearing a Riot Squad shirt, and I had my Naomi shirt on. And she turned around and whispered, but like little kid whispered, so we could clearly hear her to her mom. Oh my god, she's wearing a Naomi shirt. And she like turned and made eye contact with me, and I like gave her this weird thumbs up, and Michael was like, oh, so you're awkward with children too. I was like, oh, literally everyone. I cannot speak to anyone. I'm very weird. But it was so cute to be like, oh, you're so excited. And she was wearing a Riot Squad shirt, so it was like, oh, you love women. Like, oh,
that's cute.
I'm so happy that you're excited about this. There was also a very cute little boy during the Roman Reigns match, like 4 people over from us. He was like this tubby little boy who just was so excited. He was the only person in the building that seemed to be cheering for
Well, I'm
Roman.
the lady by me.
Yeah, and like he was so happy, and everyone in our section was like, okay, this kid is having a good time. We hate Roman, but we're kind of gonna chill and let this kid enjoy it, which was nice. It like being part of the family section was probably a huge deal.
Yeah.
That everyone was like, we get it, like this kid is into this and we're gonna be nice about this. But it was nice to see that in Chicago, which is again a shitty town to see wrestling in sometimes.
Carmella versus Asuka.
This was a fun match.
I thought it was fun. How do you feel about James Ellsworth?
When I heard the rumor, I was pissed. But honestly, I think that it's the right decision.
It works, and
It does work.
I like James Ellsworth. I'm glad that they didn't do that like trans storyline.
I hope they don't do that storyline.
Yeah, I hope they never do that. But he works as her foil to like jump in front of Asuka to distract her so that Carmella can get the one up on her.
And he's the only person allowed to do intergender wrestling. I will watch Asuka kick his ass. Like, of course I want to see that. That's baller.
Also, Ellsworth seems like a pretty chill dude.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And like, clearly wants to be working for WWE.
After WWE, worked his ass off.
Yes, he
and
did.
Hustled that indie life.
Absolutely. 100%.
So it's clearly something that he cares about.
Absolutely.
So,
I totally agree.
And it works for the story. It really does.
Absolutely. Having this like weird chinless lackey is like the perfect thing
for her. Do you want to hear
the
worst take?
Yes.
Somebody tweeted, how is it okay for James Ellsworth to dress up like Asuka, but not for Lashley's sisters to be in drag?
That's...
Isn't that the worst take
how that
you've
works.
ever heard?
That's not how
I was like, wow, the mental like gymnastics you had to do to get from this point to that point is incredible.
Yeah. No.
How is your brain wired this way?
Here's the first part of it. Asuka agreed to this. That's part... I think that says a lot about James Ellsworth, that Asuka's willing to trust him with her coat,
robe,
which
right?
is thousands of dollars. Those things are expensive.
And it's like her signature shit.
And she has a couple, which, like, she's grown and, like, changed the way that this looks and can clearly bring a couple of them, but, like, absolute minimum, that robe costs $3,000. Probably on the higher end, costs about 10 grand. Like, they're not fucking cheap. And it's amazing that she's like, sure, Chinless Wonder, take my very expensive robe and do whatever you want with it.
I would say 2 to 3. I don't think 10.
Bobby Roode's robes cost about 5 grand.
Who said that? He said that?
Those are the prices that Flair pays for those same kind of robes. Like, it's all about the...
Who is out here paying that much for robes?
Well, I think part of it is that they're expensive because they have to be durable in a way that many robes that are very nice like that don't have to be. Like, you have to stitch that to take shit every week, and, like, it's just different fabric, and they're expensive.
As somebody who spends a lot of money on costumes, that is insane to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about all that. AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
I really liked this match.
I really like this match too. I was a little disappointed that AJ won. But it makes sense with him being in the cover.
Yeah.
This was just such a great match for Nakamura to show off his weirdness.
Absolutely.
When he went for that low blow and like his face was like, I don't know how to react.
When he like danced and took all the things off of the tables and then did the running
that
lead,
was great.
It was excellent. It was
such good character work from Nakamura.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it was another match like Johnny and Ciampa, whereas like these wrestlers are doing this because you don't do this type of stuff with people you don't trust.
Yes.
And so you can push your match to a different level because you trust this person.
Mm-hmm.
And this felt in many ways like the match people wanted it to be at WrestleMania.
Absolutely. I would totally agree with that.
I really enjoyed this match. Again, very disappointed that Nakamura didn't win.
But honestly, like, his follow-up interview with Renee was perfect.
Oh, man, that was great. Loss? What's a loss? If you're going to pretend like you don't speak English.
Oh, I speak English. It's just not my fault that the ref was counting very fast. Like,
and not in Japanese.
Which I thought was very rude. Like,
Also, a feud with Brother Nero, whatever, Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
I think that'll be interesting. And Nakamura is fully going to get the U.S. Championship, I feel like.
I agree. And he needs a belt. Like,
yeah.
Shinsuke exists in this world where, like, does he really need a belt? No. Inside of WWE, yeah, he kind of does. For people who don't know who he is.
And to beat Jeff Hardy,
yeah,
it would be a big deal. So he didn't beat AJ, but AJ's the champ right now. But if you can beat Jeff Hardy, and he has beat Jeff Hardy, again, he punch him in the dick, but still.
Right, exactly. So I like where this is moving. I think it's a really good choice.
Agreed. Well, we already talked about Ronda Rousey and Nia Jax.
Extensively.
Men's Money in the Bank, Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, The Miz, Rusev, Kevin Owens, Bobby Roode, Samoa Joe, Kofi Kingston. I was so disappointed when it was Kofi.
I was too.
But then watching him, it was like, yeah, you're good at ladder matches. Like, this is
why
how
they put him
good
in,
you're
yeah.
at. Like, one guy behind me, the guy in the New Day shirt, was like, what? Kofi? What? And I turned around and I was like, it's kind of his thing though, right? And he was like, yeah. And then when he was doing that thing with the like spider monkey move on the back of Braun Strowman, and then his feet were in the ladder and he was wobbling, I turned around to the guy, I was like, that's why we do Kofi. And he was like, yeah, that's why we do Kofi.
Yeah, and like it did feel initially disappointing because I think my biggest problem with him as the choice of the New Day is that this is his 7th.
It's his billionth. That's why it seemed like the least likely option.
Exactly. And so
but then on SmackDown, Big E had that incredible match with Daniel Bryan they had the longest part of that gauntlet match.
That was excellent.
And it reminded people like, oh yeah, the New Day is really fucking good.
Absolutely.
But again, Xavier.
Why wasn't it Xavier?
It really felt like it was going to be Xavier.
It should have been his moment to shine. And I'm like, it felt like if Kofi's going to be in this match, he should win. Like, he's done so many of these matches.
Yeah, I had that thought. I was like, is it going to be Kofi? I got excited too. And I was like, man, I'm blue balled all over the place.
But like in a match with Braun, I did love that they covered him in ladders. Right before they did, I was talking to Michael like, I hope they throw ladders on him. And then they just like buried him. I was like, yes!
Dipshit Finn took one of the ladders off and then it became easy for him to break out. So it was basically Finn's fault. Which is why Braun was probably like, my buddy Finn, who literally helped me save this match.
I loved that. I love that Finn's like, yeah, I lost, it's okay. But now I got my buddy Braun. Like, I love them as like weird, adorable, strange baby face. I love
Whatever.
it.
I'm just glad that Kevin Owens is alive.
Ugh, thank
we
God.
got that wonderful gif of The Miz. Braun breaking that ladder was dope.
Yeah.
I hated all of Finn's coup de grace.
Of course you did.
They're bad.
I mean, that's your opinion.
Well, your opinion is that Ronda Rousey's stuff isn't working, and it is.
I mean, but I'm right.
I'm also right about the coup de grace. It is bad. There are so many good double stomps in WWE too, and Finn's double stomp blows super hard. And if you want to push him and you want Mr. First Universal title, you know how he's going to get back into that title picture? If he has a better fucking finisher. It is a shitty finisher. You know why the double stomp's not a finisher for anybody else? Because it's not an effective fucking finisher.
Yeah, I still love it. I don't care.
Akira Tozawa has a better stomp.
I would agree with that. I don't think that it means that Finn's is bad.
It is bad.
Yeah.
It blows.
Finn's double stomp is the best when he comes off of something taller than the ring post. Honestly, I feel
Well,
like
I haven't seen...
He did it 2 weeks ago!
I haven't seen Tozawa. You didn't let me... I'm sorry. You didn't let me finish my sentence. I haven't seen Tozawa jump off a ladder and do it, so Tozawa's is probably better when he jumps off a ladder.
I didn't say that it negated the fact that Tozawa's was better.
Finn's sucks, and he should have a better finisher. He's a competent enough wrestler that he could come up with a better finisher.
I feel like part of it,
What, do you get excited when you see a curb stomp the same way you get excited when you see the coup de grace? Yeah. No. You do? You think the coup de grace is on par with the curb stomp?
I really like the coup de grace. I was
don't
also going to say,
why.
Here's the other part about it. I really like the coup de grace when he's the demon. I think it's more effective because visually that's what it needs. And so I think that's part of it with me is it's like, I understand that this is part of this character.
It blows.
Yeah.
I don't love Braun Strowman as the Money in the Bank holder.
I mean, as soon as
he's also fought Braun before and lost. So he tore a set down on top of Braun and then lost. So I don't know in what reality that this is going to help.
Well, Braun passed the championship, so now he loses XP points. I don't know. It's fucking stupid. It doesn't matter.
But every time we think Braun obviously is going to win, or obviously he's going to lose, he doesn't. So, I don't know.
He does have...
Forever champ.
He actually does only have like a 6-month contract and is not scheduled to be on any pay-per-views.
Yeah, but how many times has that been a thing? And then they fucking extend it.
Well, I feel like part of what's going to happen is that... Okay, so when Braun started to climb the ladder at the end, it like clicked for me of... Oh, fuck, someone has to beat Brock. And of course it has to be Braun. And then Braun won the briefcase, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm glad I'm not mad about this literally 8 seconds before it happened. But I feel like Braun coming out and being like,
Samoa should have beaten Brock.
I was like, where's this bitch? I like that Braun came out and was like, yo, where's this bitch? I want to beat him. I think that that's an effective way to eventually take the title off of Brock. And I think what we're really building towards is that there's going to be a match, quotes, hard air quotes, between Brock and Roman at SummerSlam. And what's actually going to happen is Brock is going to make a Raw appearance and Braun's going to beat him.
I hope so.
And if that happens...
I'll believe it when I see it.
If that happens, honest to God, true, armchair booking that I think would work very well, I think that Braun should beat Brock for the title, and then Roman should beat Brock when there's no title on the line. Like, that is an effective way to end that story. Be like, I don't even give a fuck about this belt. You held it hostage. I can beat Braun some other time. I've already beat him. I want to make you fucking lose. That's a good move for Roman as a character, too. And so if that's what we're building to, I'm into that.
That's a lot of shit that I don't think is going to happen.
I mean... Brock will hold this title till he literally dies, it feels like.
Do you like Mr. Monster in the Bank?
Yeah, I like that they keep having to correct it. I think it works effectively because
I think
Corey keeps being like, Michael, say it right. And Michael's like, Mr. Money, Monster Bank, whatever. I think that works. I think that is fine.
Other stuff that happened. The Woken Warriors had a match with Rhino and Heath, but the important thing about that is that the B team did a great impression of Matt and Bray. Also, I literally couldn't tell that was Kurt Hawkins for a second.
Also, seeing Bo play Bray was really wonderful.
It was really cute.
It was really nice. And then they showed the broken deleter of words, whatever the fuck, in the ring. There was like a really genuine moment from Bray of like, this is really nice. This is really nice to see my brother playing me. Like, you could just see it in his eyes of like, I'm delighted, like actually delighted by this.
Paige dressing down Corbin at Money in the Bank was
So
great.
good.
And then having Corbin do all of his stuff on Raw and then eventually wrestle in his suit and get the win over Finn. Sorry, bro.
I mean, who cares?
You love
Finn
them both.
loses all the
I hate
goddamn
Finn.
time.
I just hate him so much. I don't really understand why. I just really fucking hate him. I think he sucks. But I like that Baron Corbin won as the constable and still wrestles as the constable because I think that puts him in this like interesting like I can make the match, I can make the rules, I can make myself champ right now if I wanted to.
Yeah, I really like that. I also like too that they found a very clever way of having him wrestle in this and like take the vest off, but we still don't have to see his sad belly button. Like, it is a smart move as a gear choice.
I also just love that Kevin Owens was like, Braun, I am here to congratulate you. And then Braun was like, fuck you. And that led to this match. Mm-hmm. I thought that was good post Money in the Bank writing.
Yeah, I agree.
Riot Squad versus Sasha Bailey. We kind of talked about that.
This
but
is a good match.
I just want to talk about it because I thought it was interesting that it was Liv and Sarah. And I'm glad that they get to wrestle more. And I thought that this was a good match. Mm-hmm. Ginger wrestled Chad Gable. Sorry, bro. Sorry, bro. Roman and Lashley.
Like, I love Chad Gable. I just wish they would do better by him. Sad.
It's weird that they're doing a Roman Lashley thing, but whatever. Writing's hard. Mojo Rawley versus No Way Jose is so stupid. I used to be about staying hype. Now I'm about staying focused.
Okay. I know that there are a bunch of people who legit think that Mojo Rawley's like the next coming, that he's the next John Cena. Like, can someone explain to me why they feel that way? Because I don't get it. I like Mojo fine. I don't think that he's bad. I don't think that I don't think he should be released or anything like that. I think he's a good low card guy. But genuinely, if you think he's the next John Cena, can you explain to me why? Because I truly don't get it. I don't get it.
And then finally, we have to talk about the gauntlet match. So first, start with Daniel Bryan and Big E.
Yeah, we said this was great. Like,
really
they did
good.
a great job.
Eliminated with a knee, which I feel like sometimes I don't like the way that Big E gets eliminated because I think like, no, that would never happen. Look how big he is. But kneeing somebody in the face is like, okay, you can knee anybody in the face and they'll go down. Like, absolutely. Right? Mm-hmm. And that's such a Daniel Bryan move. Then he had this really long, like half-hour match, it felt like, with Big E. Exhaustive. They really took each other to the limits. It was so good. And then the next person that fucking Daniel Bryan has to wrestle is Samoa Joe, which was like, oh, you fucked.
And they did a great job, too, with the count-out, where, like, normally I don't like a count-out finish, but it felt very appropriate.
In a gauntlet match where, like, somebody is, like, just holding on.
Yeah, it felt very appropriate. It was really well written. I liked it a lot.
Then the Bludgeon Brothers came out and fucked with D-Bry. Whatever. We'll see where this goes. But I swear to God, it ends with Daniel Bryan in a tag match.
Is Daniel Bryan going to take the tag titles? Like, I don't... He's been tag champ before with Team Hell No.
I don't know how you do that. It also builds Miz. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like that's the whole thing.
Because then Miz came out and immediately skull-crushing finale Daniel Bryan because he just went through 2 matches and got his shit fucked up by the Bludgeon Brothers. And then Rusev came out and Rusev crushed.
He won! I really didn't think he was going to. And I'm
Rusev crush.
So happy that he did. Like, he's not going to win the belt from AJ, but I'm excited. This is his first ever championship match.
Is it really?
Yes!
Yeah, I guess he's been in some high-profile matches.
He's been the U.S. title holder a couple of times, but he's never even been in an Intercontinental match, I don't think. So this is his first big match.
Good for him. I think this will be a really good match.
I completely agree. And I feel like Rusev is good enough that he doesn't necessarily need someone to elevate him because he can elevate people. But I feel like having AJ to bring the literal best out of Rusev is a great thing. And I'm really excited to see that potential. And I hope that the whole Rusev Day comes out to support him. Like, perfect. I'm so glad this stable is still together. I'm so glad they're getting this, like,
I hope Lana
space
comes
to be
out.
silly. I love it. I think it's great.
I love that Rusev and AJ had, like, that moment of shaking each other's hands and, like, having a nice moment. And then Aiden came and was like, fuck you. We're still kind of bad guys.
And I love, too, that Rusev was like, bro, what the hell?
Bro.
This is just going to make me look worse. But it didn't turn Rusev away from Aiden, which I thought was also nice.
He was just like, oh, this wasn't your moment. Who is your Appreciabate?
My Appreciabate this week was Shayna Baszler. She looks good with the eyebrows. She looks good with the charcoal smear across her face. I feel like she's elevating in a way.
Wait, how are you defining Appreciabate?
Appreciabate is like, you looked great and like, I would appreciate to this. I don't know.
But you also did a good job.
Yeah, exactly.
It has to be like about what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Too. Okay.
It's like you looked really good, and I like physically enjoyed watching you in this thing, and also like you really showed up in a way that I appreciate what you're doing. So I feel like Shayna looked good, both in the match and in her look. And again, Nikki elevated her to a place where it took my eye away from how green Shayna was, and the fact that Shayna can work inside of that and understand I have to do these things in order to not look as green. And she has an understanding of in-ring storytelling in a way that's really come out in the last couple of weeks. So she's my appreciate this week.
My appreciate is Biggie.
Good one. That's
He
a really
fucking,
good one.
I would totes. I would totes have sex with Biggie. I love him so much.
Absolutely.
But he showed up in that match and reminded everyone, like, yeah, we do this funny, silly thing, and we have these matches with the Usos and all this stuff, but like, remember when I was a really good wrestler?
Remember
a singles
when I made
wrestler?
people count to 5 because I was so fucking dominant? Like, yeah, I do, Biggie.
He's a great wrestler. And,
absolutely.
You know, it's funny, he can do these silly backstage segments and be so good. Like, some of the backstage segments they had pre-Money in the Bank where, like, Kevin tried to give them the syrup and all this stuff. Like, that stuff was great. All of that and all the stuff he does with New Day, and then he shows up and puts on this great match with Daniel Bryan, who's, like, an incredible... It was just, like...
Was it your first time seeing Daniel Bryan live?
As a wrestler, yeah. It had to have been, too. Right? Like, there's no other...
I mean, you could have seen him in indies conceivably at the time.
No, I feel like I only ever saw Sami Zayn.
Okay. Yeah, that was my first time seeing him as well. I didn't realize it until that match was over, and I was like, oh, I've never seen him. I get it now. And
Daniel Bryan.
Seeing him wrestle in person, I, like, totally get it.
His haircut sucks, though. We have to admit that.
I mean, that's his whole goddamn thing, though.
But it's better when it's, like, long and shaggy. You can't, like, cut it into a bob, bro. It looks awful.
Well, I think that he's growing it, because it was in the
short...
Oh,
that's true.
It was in the short
It's
GM
in the awkward
hair.
phase.
Yeah, he's in super awkward long grow phase, so I feel like that's part of it. Yeah.
You should put it in a pony.
I don't think it's long enough. His is a little shorter than mine.
Should put it in like a half top knot.
Like a Jericho top knot? Yeah.
Yes, you should.
Yeah.
All right, we've recorded for forever.
Yeah.
You can find us on the internet. I'm at Stella_Cheeks.
I'm at ErnGenC.
You can find us at Not Your Demo Pod on Twitter, and I run the Cage Side Seats Twitter.
Yeah, absolutely. You should also subscribe to our Patreon. Patreon.com/NotYourDemoPod, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Come support our Patreon. We have all of our Every Mania Evers.
I just posted Every Mania 5, and then this weekend we're going to watch No Holds Barred featuring Hulk Hogan and do another podcast.
Okay.
Movie review. You can email us at notyourdemo@gmail.com. You can buy our merch at whatamaneuver.net. I don't know.
What a Maneuver, Not Your Demo. You'll find it.
You'll find it.
Our shirts are good. You should look at them and buy one of them. Or both of them. That would be great. Buy our text one in a variety of colors.
So many different colors.
So many colors. Oh, you should rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes.
So funny. Okay.
We have not had one of those in a minute. So, you know.
We didn't even get drunk. We just had so much to talk about.
I know.
With Lucha and Total Bells and pay-per-view weekends and, this is like almost 3-hour fucking podcast.
Again.
I don't know who listens to these nonsense podcasts.
I know.
Who makes it to the end?
I also like the idea that people listen and then they get to the WWE stuff and are like, nah, no.
Yeah, fuck this stuff.
I've seen this. I don't care.
I mean, yeah.
I truly think that that's a lot of what happens. People are like, well, I've seen this. I don't need to listen.
All right. 2 words for you.
Remote.
The first, God, I have like cotton mouth. The first.
We're not even drunk.
I'm gonna cut all of that out.
Say bye-bye to toothache, swollen gums, and oral discomfort. Highlands for Kids oral pain relief tablets are here to help. Quick and natural relief to alleviate pain. Happy kid, happy mama. Claims based on traditional homeopathic practice, not accepted medical evidence, not FDA evaluated.
To promote my new flower shop, I had one place print my business cards, another print my brochures, and a third, my signs. Now my roses aren't red, my violets aren't blue, my geraniums look dead, and I don't know what to do.
Staples can help your business stand out with signs, banners, and brochures that are a true reflection of your company. And now at Staples, spend $50 or more on print and marketing services and get $5 off your next in-store purchase.
Now my business is blossoming, and I'm spending less green.
Exclusions apply. In-store only. Ends 6/23/18.